Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode number 136 of the Terminus Podcast for the weeks of February 8th, 2020. I almost said 2000 and 2000. Just because it's 2020, just the repetition.
2020.
Year. Yeah.
Duck Dodgers in the 24th and 1/2 century.
Pretty much.
Episode 136, I am your dispatcher, Ellis, otherwise known as Train Man. With me I have all three of my engineers. That's Brett Weeble, Jacob Durbin, and Nick Christensen.
Woo.
And returning as our perennial guest, of course, is Eric Maurer.
I am back. You can't get rid of me.
Well, now we have the good crew.
We do. Which we've had before. This is actually an old thumbnail that I've pulled up. It doesn't have the new sprites that Weibold made when we switched over. Anyway.
I need to redo those at some point. I need to get mine changed.
I need to compute.
Weibold, you're being requested. Your talents.
Oh dear.
Anyway. Before we get on to some positively talented Class 1s, the train will terminate at this
Nice segue. Okay, this week we're trying not to get hit by trains as we, examine and repair our inserters. It's Factorio.
Yeah.
It's a distant rock where we're defacing it in the name of, making Mazdas and spoons.
Yeah.
Yeah? Hey.
Yeah.
People gotta have their decorative tea cozies, okay? It's very
They're
important.
very important.
And they're mild cars.
And back on Earth, people who very much care about their goods. Union Pacific on January 21st, 2020, derailed in the town of North Enid, which I have no idea where that is, but
It's north of Enid.
the train had 6 empty cars, it says, but clearly there were more cars than that, so I don't know what they're trying
more
to
than
say.
6.
Might not be a picture of that accident, though.
It's a video of it.
Oh, well, never mind.
So, they tipped over a bunch of empties by the looks of it. Maybe they just mean they crashed 6 empty cars, but at a glance there are more than 6 cars on the ground.
Yep, in Oklahoma, by the way.
Okay, where the wind comes rolling over the plains.
Yep.
A few days later, Norfolk Southern clocked their first derailment of the period in Silver Springs. And this is great because we actually have a report from someone who lives next to the tracks. And it's, the noises were much louder. This was extremely loud, banging, crashing, thumping. So, yeah, this, it happened between 1 and 4 a.m. as
Ouch.
freight cars were being switched back and forth between the Norfolk Southern and Rochester and Southern railroads. At least 2 covered
It happened between 1 and 4?
Yeah.
That's a very large window.
That is a large window. But
These people were shaken awake by it, and they didn't bother to check the time?
Well, I'm sure they did, and then they went back to sleep, and you're thinking back, it's like, was it 1 o'clock? I don't know.
I hope the crew didn't go back to bed.
Well, okay.
They have an accurate time for the accident.
Admittedly, this is not crew testimony here. Derailment's cause wasn't known. 2 of the cars might have been coupled together at too high a rate of speed, or some such thing. Either way, they tipped over carloads of salt, which were important produce coming directly from Weibold's house to the Saltines factory.
Important stuff.
Now, if you want something real spicy, Canadian Pacific derailed. The first derailment in February 6th, 2020. And exploded and caught fire. Well, not exploded, but there was fire.
This is spicy.
It was a crude oil train.
Very spicy.
Kaboom.
That is a big kaboom.
Bomb train.
We have 2 articles on this. The second one is much better and has a picture of the burning derailment. And as a result of this, the railroad gave a 30-day speed limit across the entire railroad for shipments of crude. So, also there was a derailment here about 2 months ago, 6 miles away or so, along the same line. So maybe they should just check up on this line.
Probably a good idea.
Maybe they need a little bit more track work. Following that, the very next day, BNSF derailed in southern Illinois, and it was 20 to 25 cars. It was a coal train. It doesn't say whether it was full or empty, but no reports of injuries. No, obviously there isn't danger. Oh, it was a full train, so that's got to be messy. It's not dangerous to anybody. There weren't any fires, but that's a lot of cars on the ground. Norfolk Southern derailed again that same day, so on the 7th. And allegedly, this article says Norfolk Southern suffered the second train derailment in less than 48 hours. We don't have the article for whatever derailment occurred immediately before this, but 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Norfolk Southern experienced a mainline derailment in Columbia, South Carolina. Yeah. Customers should expect delays of 24 to 48 hours. Nothing really crazy there, and yeah, it's funny. They're actually they're showing the train detour on this map here. I guess there's one advantage of having a lot of parallel lines in the same area.
What?
UP had another derailment February 8th. There's a survey here that I'm not going to do. Union Pacific Road is investigating a derailment that occurred Wednesday afternoon in Columbus. Is that Columbus, Ohio?
No.
Where Columbus?
Where do you say Columbus? I see Columbia.
Oh, Columbus Yard. Gotcha. No, wait.
Fast.
Union Pacific. It says it investigated a derailment that occurred Wednesday afternoon in Columbus. It's the first line of the article. I don't know where this
I'm very skeptical. I don't think UP won.
Telegram reporters witnessed workers on the scene at 26th Avenue Crossing Wednesday evening. Everything was cleared up later that night. Really not a lot of details on that one. The following day, they derailed again. Oh, sorry, that was NS. That makes more sense. There wasn't an engine in those pictures. So, NS derailed on the 7th in Columbus, and they derailed again. Oh wait, no. What am I doing? No. That was... I came back and my cursor was in a different spot, and the first thing I said was correct.
Columbus, Nebraska.
Okay, Union Pacific derailed in Columbus. Norfolk Southern derailed in Columbia. And I think this is the other article. This was an intermodal train. It is unclear what may have led to the collision. Wait, what? Oh, the train hit a tree. Okay. I was like, collision? Yeah, so NS hit a tree and derailed. That must have been some tree.
How does that work? It's unclear what led to the collision. The train hit a tree, didn't it? Well, yes.
Also, Ellis, I have located
the tree was too close to the train.
I have located the other Norfolk Southern wreck that derailment. Yes, I will put it here. Oops, that's not how you do it.
We have yet to link the tree to domestic terrorism, but I think we'll get there. Report that this wasn't an accident, Bob. Back to you.
Yes.
There it is. There you go.
We're not sure what led to the collision. Okay.
Wait, where'd you put it?
With Norfolk Southern.
Oh, you put it in the article. Oh, okay, in the document. Okay, let's see.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Oh, okay. This is on the 6th. NS train derails at Bound Brook.
New Jersey.
In New Jersey.
Kinky.
Yeah. I like how they end it with the same boilerplate. Customers traffic moving through this area should anticipate a delay of 24 to 48 hours. Literally
3 days in a row for them.
Exact same boilerplate. Yeah, they got a hat trick. Good job, NS. We're so proud of you.
So proud.
Great.
Guess who
Anyway.
isn't getting a mantle?
What have we been derailing lately? I haven't been doing anything. I didn't even make under construction for these past 2 weeks because I've been just out of sorts and coughing my head
You've been
off.
dying
Yeah, I've been
of
dying.
coronavirus.
Yeah. The kung
I
fu.
mean, I've done about the same at
Because-
least in terms of railroad stuff. Like, the past few weeks for me have been very focused on school and playing Halo. So
Well,
that's two of us out.
Yeah, I'm sort of in the same
Noble
boat.
six pursuit.
I literally haven't done anything train related other than either research or planning or building half of a kit since since I came back to school about 5 weeks ago now.
I like how we've got so... Actually, well, there was one railroad-related thing that I did between last episode and this episode, and that is, I went to the Big E. I only went on one day. I only... I didn't spend too much time wandering around, and I didn't even get to talk to the COG people, but TJ and I went on the Sunday, and it was like... We sort of broke it down in a way that we haven't before. You know, when you go to a train show, what do you do, typically? You go there, and you look for, you browse or whatever.
Yeah.
You buy
look
shit.
for stuff to buy, you
I was
buy
going to
stuff.
say, you go broke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't do that. TJ also wasn't going to do that. So it's like, okay, what are we here for? Well, we want to look at the layouts, but we've seen them before. They don't really change that much year over year.
You ever wonder why we're here?
So it's like, okay, so
Yeah.
we need to go and chat up as many of the organizations that we care about as possible. And so we ended up going, we wandered by the, 2-foot pavilion is what they called it, I think, which is where the SRNRL and people it was the narrow gauge pavilion, because on one quarter of it is the SRNRL, and then there are a bunch of the other guys, and then on the other quarter of it is the Friends of the Cats, which
Right.
I always find it amusing that they come to this show in New England, but
They have a lot of numbers.
yeah, I can tell. So, we went there for a second, we just sort of said hello, and then we were like, alright, so we need to find the people that we know, that we want to talk to. We ended up going over to the main narrow gauge booth. Actually, I'll get to that. We went to the 3713 booth first, and I kind of wish we'd had this podcast sooner, because I had we had a long conversation with them, and I had some good news coming out of it, and stuff like that. The thing that they said was, I think I remembered it being like 3 years or so until they think that 3713 will be on the road. And
Okay.
they have
Nice.
thoughts and plans for a lot of the other engines that they have. I did get confirmation from them that, Blount is never going to run again.
No.
Womp womp.
So
It's fucked.
3254 is way bent out of shape, literally, and there is serious consideration to taking everything off of 3254 and putting it on 3377 and running that engine instead.
He's brown.
Because
Can we get an F in chat
Yeah.
for Blunt?
because the frame
F.
is basically ruined to the point where it would go through bearings after a handful of trips.
Yeah, that's bad.
Yeah, no.
And they pulled something I didn't know. They pulled 3254 out of service when it still had flu time.
Yeah.
They didn't even want to run all that time down. They were just like, we're not doing this.
Yeah.
And there was something like the other one, 2317 is in a similar spot, but more people want that engine back, and they called her the Cadillac and everything. So it was that, and then they were talking about, okay, what are they going to do with 3713? And I had brought up, hey, last time I was here, we talked about, you guys had plans, you wanted to bring it to Boston or whatever, and he's like, yeah, we would love, they were like, yeah, we would love to do that. The issue is, we need to talk to a lot of railroads about that. Thankfully, because we are a government organization, we can talk to the government and have them lean on railroads to be like, give them permission, work with them.
Yeah.
And they were like, the biggest problem is we don't have a tool car because we've never done this, and we don't have an auxiliary tender either because we've never done this. So, that was...
They
like,
don't have an aux tender laying around the yard somewhere?
That's the thing, they do, but they would need to rebuild it. And I mentioned, like, don't you have an aux tender out there? They're like, yeah, it's there.
I know that's easier said than done, but rebuild it.
In fairness, by that logic, they also don't have a locomotive. They have to rebuild that.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. That's true. Point is, it's not exactly on the priority list right now to go and patch up an aux tender. But yeah, no, it's something that they definitely want to do. And then from there, we went over to the... we went by the Valley Railroad booth a little bit, but we didn't talk to them very much. It was just sort of like, hey, has there been any progress clearing that giant pile of dirt that got dumped in your fill? And they were like, well, no, but we're not worried about that right now because right after that is a bridge, and we're doing structural analysis on the bridge to make sure we don't have to rebuild it. Because if we do have to rebuild it, there's no point in bothering these people about their pile of dirt yet.
Yeah. That's a good point.
The thing I find really amusing about that is I'm glad they're looking forward to the bridge. The thing that I find really amusing about that is the bridge comes immediately after the portion of the line where the tracks go between a guy's house and his garage.
Oh, well, all right.
It's a really interesting spot. TJ and I walked through it, and we were walking down the tracks, and we come out into this area, and it's like, it's a house on the left and the garage on the right. It's like, are we supposed to be here? It's like,
is this the right place?
Are we trespassing on this guy's property, or are we trespassing on the railroad's property? I'm not
sure.
Yeah, it's like,
yes.
This is this is a Connecticut state park. So does this guy's property just, is it bisected by the park? Is that, what does the map here look like?
Yeah.
But yeah, immediately after that, there's I think the biggest bridge on the line by a margin, which I think, hold on, let me see if I can grab a picture of it. Bridge. Well, that's real descriptive. Why did I even think about that? Whatever. I would have to find it. The only shot I know of it is from an old movie where they used the old... it was one of the last New Haven steam engines to run. I'll have to go searching for it a little bit later. No point in doing it now. When we talked to them about that, I wanted to... Hopefully, we'll be able to hear from them about their bridge situation in the near future. Because that opens it up to a lot of other things. The thing I didn't get to ask was, hey, now that you have so much more running room, would you consider doing the dinner train with a steam engine? Because that's the reason they don't now.
Oh, okay.
Wybold, you know the pain of trying to drive a steam engine very slowly.
It's not fun. Honestly, the only thing worse than running a steam engine slowly is firing a steam engine slowly.
Yeah. So, they don't run their dinner trains with the steam engine so that they have enough time to do dinner, basically. Yeah. And because of that, because of the space they've opened up, I've always wanted to be like, hey, so, you thinking of doing the dinner trains with the steam engine now? Because you can go that much farther, you can put more runtime on? I don't know if that's something they've been kicking around, but I didn't really press them on much. I didn't really want to bother them too much. And they weren't as forthcoming as some of the other people we talked to. 3713 folks and the 470 folks as well. They were great. So the Main Central 470 is a Main Central Pacific that is getting worked on way up in the middle of nowhere, Maine. Sort of somewhere north of Bar Harbor, I think.
Bahama.
Not the same middle of nowhere, Maine that has the other two locomotives in the middle of nowhere, Maine.
Yeah, no, way different middle of nowhere. It's much less middle of nowhere than that middle of nowhere.
Somewhere in the middle of nowhere.
And oh god, what was I gonna say? Yeah, they were super enthusiastic. They're a great bunch of people, and I really wish I could have, I wish I could visit them more often. One of the other things, though, is that they were talking about, taking this thing on adventures when they get the chance to. They're part of, or they're attached to a heritage railroad that just started working on their stuff a little bit, like, they just recently sort of came into their own and bought a couple of engines, a couple of coaches, and started running on this track. And because of that, there's a place for 470 to go. And they're not connected to the national network at this point. There's a stretch that would need to be rehabilitated. Jader, sort of like your connection, but way worse.
Yes, because, our connection exists.
So they're not good for interchange, but they're not, actually insular. They are technically connected.
They are technically connected. Like, they're connected on a map.
We're not even connected. Like, the fucking... The open railway map shows it as abandoned. It's like, nope. It looks that way, but nope. I can explain how we got our dining car without a truck.
Abandoned, there once was a railroad here, and now it's a field, or is abandoned Tennessee Pass abandoned?
Tennessee Pass abandoned. In the case of these guys.
Okay.
There are bits where there's track missing, or where you'd need... mostly where you would need to redo a grade crossing, like it's been paved over. That sort of thing.
Okay, but the track's still there.
Yeah.
That's good.
It's not like it's all been torn up and abandoned. It's just not in service with prejudice. And the last thing, I was trying to add something snappy to the end of every conversation that I had with these people, just to get a laugh out of them. When I left the 3713 guys, my last words were, well, what you do is you actually just, you swap everything over on a 3377, and then you swap the number plates over, and nobody will know the difference. And
you're right.
That got a kick out of them. And then...
Summer 65 would like to know where you live.
And then as I was leaving the 470 booth, I said... And then you guys are going to run into Boston and meet up with the 3713 guys, right? And the girl laughed and she goes, everyone's saying we should do that.
Well, you should.
And I was like, part of me was like, damn, I'm not the first. And the other part of me was like, yes.
Yeah. New England.
The only thing more than this to happen is for CNN to cover it, but have the reporter go out with an old-timey microphone and a fedora. Dateline, Boston, Back Bay Station.
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
That would be completely amazing.
I would pay to see that.
Reporting from the law offices of Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe.
Yeah.
So we went from there to the main narrow gauge booth, and when we got there, I think the dude we talked to was the head of the main narrow gauge. I think so. I do not know for certain, but I think he was. I would have to ask TJ just to make sure. But he was there, and we just happened to run into him talking to somebody from the WWF. And so we got into this conversation, and we were there for probably an hour easily. Just talking.
That's like 3 days in Bigfoot time.
Yeah, just talking about. They had their poster board up of this is their new station, and I called them out on the locomotive in the picture, which is definitely not a main narrow gauge locomotive. It's something European, and he's like, yeah, no, we didn't have any pictures of the engine at that angle, and we needed this for the next morning. So I just said, get any picture of an engine that that is at this angle and just make it work. And, that's exactly what
your
they
keyword search goes from WWNF number 7 to locomotive to train.
Yeah. And, oh god, I wish I could remember all the stuff that we talked about now, because it was great. I mean, we talked about the reunion, we talked about what they're doing up at the north end of the line for the WWF, which is, honestly, it's kind of spectacular. I'm super looking forward to it, because they're going to put in a passing siding, but the north end of the passing siding is going to be a little baby turntable that's just long enough for the locomotive. And so they'll be able to pull the train into the north end of the line. I can't remember the name of the place. They'll be able to pull the train in, pull the engine off, pull it onto the turntable, turn it around, and then run it down the passing siding to couple down to the other end of the train so that they're running head end forward both directions.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, that was really fun to hear. And I sort of, I asked them, like, okay, well, what are you guys doing? And they started talking about, well, we're going to build a roundhouse in Sheepscut, because now we've got all these engines there.
Yeah.
They talked a lot about the reunion. This is the first time these engines have been together in decades. And I also mentioned to them, hey, there's this other proposal to run passenger rail into Portland from the north down, like, on top of you guys. And he's like, yeah, it's just a proposal. It's not going to happen. We have the waterfront under our control until 2050, I think he said. And, yeah, they're building a new station at the Ocean Gateway, which is where the cruise ships pull up. And they're building a new car shop at the other end so they can store everything. And we didn't really, we got on this tangent about Portland, and we just talked about Portland and the situation with traffic in Portland and what to do about it and that sort of thing. We got totally off track of the main narrow gauge and WWF discussion to just talk about generic transit infrastructure in Portland, Maine. But I mean, it was super entertaining because it's not the typical kind of conversation you get to have with these guys usually, and I'm sure it was a breath of fresh air for them instead of answering the same questions over and over again. But yeah, no, we had a blast. Then we went back to the booth and just hung out for a little while. My legs were killing me because we were standing and walking and everything.
Yeah.
That was a really fun time. And then we caught the same restaurant that we meant to... we tried to eat at this restaurant last year, but they had bowls of peanuts out, and so it was yeah, it's not, because Madison was with us. And TJ had said that he had, a thought, and his thought was, hey, what if we weren't meant to eat here, or whatever, what if something, it was divine intervention, what if it's not good? Yeah. And it turns out it wasn't good. So we're not going to go back there.
Pizza dungeon level?
What?
Pizza dungeon levels of bad?
We didn't go into the pizza dungeon. We were scared off by the outside of it.
You know what it's going to taste like.
Yeah.
Pizza dungeon.
We have no idea what it's going to taste like, and we're good living that way.
Yeah. Little boy's room.
Okay.
Good.
You sound really far away too.
I think he's out.
Well, clear. I mean, I wouldn't think so if he's going to go use the bathroom.
Yeah.
Either way, have you guys done anything else?
Not a thing.
I've got plenty of...
Oh, actually, yeah. Well, sort of.
Sort of.
Okay, so for my public speaking class, we have to pick one to two topics that we're supposed to stick with for the whole semester.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to go with, we already have one speech where we, sort of introduce our topic. And mine is, I'm doing, preserving history, my involvement in it, and how to keep that going, and how to keep it relevant.
Man, museum boards for W, Chater.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if I could find, and I know a guy that graduated from OU, and that's Well, he does it like on a broader scale, but it's pretty much what he does.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I don't know. Maybe I'll like sit down and talk with him and change her major, but I don't know yet.
Huh.
Or I don't know.
Well, that's neat.
Oh.
Yeah. So I guess as I come on here, I'll just keep plugging it.
Yeah, why?
That's great.
Why not? It's a very good topic of conversation, and especially in a group setting like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what my professor said too. Like, yeah, she said, that's a it's a great topic. Not many, not many people really care.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I'm finding it.
You finding it?
Let's see. Ah, there it is. It happened to Jane. That's what it was. So, there was a film that used...
That New Haven
one of the
steam
last
engine
New
that you
Haven
talking-
steam engines, and there's a shot, I believe, from the film of them crossing this bridge. Unless I am mistaken. I swear I've seen it before. I've seen this picture before. I'm just trying to get a picture of the bridge. And this is driving me crazy. It's going to drive me crazy the rest of the night if I can't find this. But, okay, something that was really fun, and I didn't, I kind of wish TJ and Dean were here, because, so when we went up to Maine, when Dean was in town, we managed to get ourselves aboard the Polar Express, the Maine Narrow Gauge Polar Express, because we knew, I believe her name is Kate. She was, she recognized me and got us aboard because we'd been friendly with her in the past. So, she was in number 3. Now, Monson number 3 was taken from the Maine Narrow Gauge, brought up to the WWF, then immediately brought back down after the reunion to go to Amherst to be their engine in the parking lot. And then immediately went back to Portland to be there for some huge event that was happening in Portland. So that engine traveled a lot. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if it traveled more by truck than it did by its own wheels during that stretch. The thing is, they usually run an engine back and forth in front of the buildings of the Big E. And this time they couldn't, because apparently, this is what they told us, they didn't have enough track because the rest of it was shut in a shed, and the shed had iced shut.
What?
And they couldn't open it to get the track out.
That's
so they
interesting.
just said, screw it, we won't run the engine back and forth. We'll just put it on this little piece of track that we have in the parking lot and just have it sit there and steam, and we'll blow the whistle and ring the bell. And
Interesting.
Seems like an absolute waste of fuel and shit, but okay.
That's probably what they were thinking too, but we noticed while we were there, Kate was actually one of the people in the cab. She was firing number 3 while I was just sitting in the parking lot. And then she showed up in the middle of our conversation with the Maine Narrow Gauge folks. And she was like, "Oh, hey, you guys." It's like, it would be a much more coincidental thing if we didn't knowingly go to the same places. Because she's part of the Maine Narrow Gauge, and we've just been following them around, I guess. Okay, so because Wybold is not back, so we can't do I will share this, which this at least is the bridge. It's not got the locomotive on it, of course. But if you zoom out, you can't totally see. So I'll show the viewers this. If you come out of Street View, you can't totally see, but just down the road, there's an area. There's a very large driveway, just to the east, I guess. It's a very large driveway.
Yeah.
You can see some cars parked, and there's a couple of houses, and there's some smaller buildings. The tracks run right through the middle of that. And that's where TJ and I walked. And we came out of this bridge, and that's as far as we got, because it was like, okay, well, I'm not going to walk across that bridge. It's got plenty of things growing through it. It'd be a lot tougher for them to, the WNF people, they were talking about, or the WWNF people, they were talking about the fact that they didn't really intend to make the line expansion their priority as much as they have, because the bridge just sort of fell in their lap. They were not expecting it, and then they got that huge grant for 10K.
Yeah.
And so it's like, well, we've got it. Let's do it. And so they built and built and built, and now it's like, all right, well, we need to step back. We need to finish the other things we started.
Yeah.
The roundhouse, the car barn, which they're busy extending their car shed, like heavily extending it.
Oh boy.
And because they had all their stuff, and then the main narrow gauge showed up with all of their stuff and said, yeah, this is going to stay here too. And so they went, all right, well, we need to make the car barn bigger then.
Right.
And so they've been, they like doubled the size of it. In some of the pictures from the reunion, you can see it half built in the background. Like I said, they want to build a roundhouse. They have also been planning an event stage at Alna Center, so they can have bands and stuff. And also that, I believe, they said that would be transported in by rail, all of the components for that.
Okay.
To build it. They also have their shingle mill that they're planning to build at top of the mountain, which they have all of it. They have all the machinery already, and they basically have a mill in a box. They just need to put it together.
The giant kit.
Yeah, it is a huge kit.
Yeah.
With the thing that I left them...
What would they do with it?
Make shingles.
Well, I mean, like to sell, like to generate revenue?
I guess. I don't think they would be... I don't think they would be turning a profit on running the shingle mill, but I think that it would be, something for them to use to manufacture things to sell by some token. I mean, they're already doing revenue freight deliveries to the main locomotive and machine works.
Yeah.
They happen to have very similar goals in mind, but, they built a spur for them, and they're taking deliveries, so why not?
Business!
Yeah.
Building the ecology.
And the last thing that I said when I left there, or actually that I meant to say, I can't say I said it because I forgot to, and I kicked myself about it later. So you guys remember the Terminus question a few weeks ago about the two schooners?
No.
The question was, the main narrow gauge, or a main 2-footer purchased 2 schooners to use, and they then languished in the harbor for years and years. What were the names of them? And the WWF back in the 30s, the guy who ran it had a fantastic business idea, and it was he would have this little railroad of his. He would purchase a pair of schooners, so just sailing vessels, very inexpensive to run because you don't need fuel, and they would travel from Boston, where they would load up on coal, to Wiscasset. And then they would unload the coal, and the WWF would take coal to all of the people along its route and towns along its route, and it would bring back lumber and produce that would get loaded onto the schooners and brought back down to Boston for sale.
All right.
And he had this brilliant idea, and he bought these two schooners, Hesper and Luther Little, and he parked them in Wiscasset Harbor. And then the WWF suffered its fateful derailment, and the railroad business ended there. It was never even... They never even bothered to clean it up. And then they just came through years later and tore the line up. And the schooners never went away. They sat in Wiscasset Harbor for, 60 years or more? Slowly getting vandalized, occasionally burned, and stripped. And eventually they just... The city of Wiscasset was like, we're gonna just tear these up. We're gonna get rid of them. But there's a monument to them there. You can see there's like a little plaque about them, and on the edge of the harbor. And so my last words to the main narrow gauge, or to the WMNF, were supposed to be, "Hey, you guys ever think about buying a couple of schooners?"
Oh,
What'd they say?
Ooh.
I didn't get to say it. I'm kicking myself because I didn't get to say it. I thought I would have just got a laugh out of them because it's like, oh, we know this story, you know. We know
They're
how
just
this
like,
goes.
yes,
Yeah.
stonks.
So, you know, that's what I assume they're going to do. That's what they have to do. They're going to buy a schooner, and they're going to ship shingles from Maine to Boston.
You know
what
what?
could possibly go wrong?
That sounds like a fun trains route. No,
Get shipped by sailboat. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, there's schooner on what was it, the Carson Car Shops? There's schooners that like you can drive.
That's kind of funny.
Yeah,
I feel like it would be a little bit, you know, a little bit too straightforward, though. You know, you just sort of go.
Well, yeah, you could set the AI on them and have the ships actually, you know, do something.
That's
Yeah.
true. That's good, actually. I like that.
You know what? I need a piece of paper.
Oh no.
Uh-oh.
JJ's gonna. Well,
No, I'm the deal at.
Hold on. I think TJ was building the WWF. So,
Yeah.
if we can get him to get to Wiscasset, then you can just have the scooters there, where they belong.
Mattapoisett Railway Part. Mattapoisett Railway Part 2.
Now with boats.
Honestly,
The Wigs captured assumption. Yeah.
honestly, I mean, oh yeah, I forgot to talk about that. So, someone in the Gmod foamers, I forget who it was, posted a picture of Peninsula, Ohio, from like 1948, and it's just this really picturesque photo. You have the river, this big water tower station, all that, really picturesque, real beautiful fall shot, and that got me thinking to build something like it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have any pictures of it, but I've slowly been building something like that in 19. And then my eventual plan is to build that and just have more single track going off in each direction. And then eventually get to something like North Walpole Junction. Because I have an old Moderator magazine that has a full article about that place and a full, not to scale, but a full diagram of the track layout from like 1946,
That's really cool.
I think.
That is really cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, put all that CN steam to good use, or
Yeah.
even gooder use.
Oh, you just made me remember that I did Milky's route review since last episode as well, or his module review, and I put the module into the modular.
Did you merge in the Mattapoisett modular yet?
No, not yet. I wasn't aware that you'd finished it.
Don't do it yet, because I'm going to put out another update, because I've changed a few things with the AI and, like, a few textures, I think.
Okay.
But it's almost there to be merged in.
All
Okay.
right.
Hey, yeah, let me know when it's done, and I'll be happy to do that. We can figure out where it's going to go.
Okay.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Kaban and I have been through adventure. He made a dam of Tennessee Pass. So now we both have Tennessee Pass. And I'm doing mine mostly modern, but you can get away with older stuff. And so far I only got a few miles done on it. Not too much. I haven't really had the time because of work to seriously do anything to it.
It's worth noting that Kavan has had a lot of time to do thing on it.
Yeah.
Kavan has been going crazy.
This dem has existed for probably about a week now. And Kavan has completely laid the track in scenic, probably 3 or 4 miles, which doesn't sound like a lot, but if you do trains, you'll know just how much work that takes.
Yeah, I know. I think I'm at around 2 miles myself on the dam, and
Kavan's is like fully scenic and satellite foot. It's very nice.
Well, but you sound far away.
Hang on.
Anyway, I'll send.
Is that any better?
Yeah, it's better.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll send the 2 screenshots of the areas I do have done. Particularly near Red Cliff.
Oh yes, I know this.
I even reskinned the brig.
I was gonna ask where that came from. That's a pretty convincing analog.
It's a Ben Dorsey bridge off of the Gorian defeated. With a yarn road bridge put on top of it.
Wow.
Oh, that's really... I see it now. That's really clever. I like that.
And the concrete bridge in the foreground is a railroad bridge with a yarn road on top of it.
Nice.
That's a great screenshot.
And then the second one is just a nice shot that I saw on the way when I was looking on the satellite of this little stack, just a little bit down from that location, and it crosses the river. And I thought, screenshot opportunity. But other than that, how can I forget about Gilman? I've been done too much.
Everybody else has.
I haven't done too much scenery work around here, but this is where it stands right now.
Oh, okay.
Coming together.
SP boys.
What is that track?
That is I think TRS-19 SAP 132-pound track.
This is on the DLS?
Yep. Of course it is.
That's some good-looking track.
Yeah. I learned some halfway decent track that had PBR support and that kind of worked for Tennessee Pass. So that's what I used.
And that's actually American, because all the...
Yeah.
Well, not all, but most of the default PBR track is like, British or something.
From a distance, you can pass it off, but when you have these up close scenes like Gilman here, where the track is probably one of the most predominant things in the scene. Yeah.
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 It's
Yeah.
good. I like.
Oh,
Whoops.
good job.
But yeah, I'm just trying to work between them and get scenery done. But these are the most scenic areas that I have so far. The rest is just textures and trees. So not too much to it. That's all I have from trains anyway. Haven't worked on my mock pool. But oh well.
Have you seen the review?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah. There are some things. I think the biggest issue that I was currently having with it, aside from the fact that things seem to have disappeared on me, is the fact that...
And I did check my version. They disappeared on me.
Oh, no. What the hell?
Yeah. Yeah. I have no idea how it happened. Probably.
The other issue that I was having is the fact that stupid intermodal terminal has a hitbox the size of the planet Earth. And I can't click on anything else.
Ellis, I will get you the contact information of BP Train so you can complain to them.
I'll go grouse at him. What the hell?
I heard you collision meshes, so I put a collision mesh in your collision mesh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
All right. So, what kind of collision mesh do we need for this thing? Yes.
All of it. I'll take your entire block.
I'll take your entire block. Okay, so anyway.
But yeah, I did see it, and there were some good points there that you had with it.
Yeah, Sorry, go ahead.
If I have the time, I might text it again. But
yeah, but you decided to take
that we
out
do the hump
gigantic
yard
module.
Yeah, and Tennessee Pass. That Hellfire.
Don't call. Yeah. I liked it. I had a lot to say about it, but,
Yeah,
I am hopefully going to be making use out of that yard, and maybe I'll start tweaking the turntable to get it to work, and then have some engines staged there. If I decide to, whenever I start automating, because that's probably where you're going to have a lot of the trains starting from until we get another yard. But hey, now we're on version 0.2.
Hey.
So, yay.
You.
Okay, anyway. I think that squares away all of that. Leibold,
Alright.
I get the feeling you didn't go anywhere, huh?
What's that?
You didn't go to Thing, did you?
No, I did.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I've managed to hide it pretty well, I guess. Then I'm driving back from getting dinner right now.
I mean, I had suspicions that you did because your mic sounded differently, and then you just went to the bathroom.
I figured as much.
And I was like, if he's just gonna go, he's not driving if he's gonna go use the bathroom.
Yeah.
Must be one on bathroom break.
I'm on my way back now. But does that mean it's time for?
How far away are you?
2 minutes.
Okay, yeah, we can wait. Just wait until you get home because you're part of this. So I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, some of the stats I'll know off the top of my head.
Okay, yeah, but I think we can wait just a second.
Alrighty.
Okay, then I'll I guess I can share another screenshot that I have.
In that case, I'll duck out of the call and I'll just rejoin when I'm back home.
All right.
Okay.
That works.
Yeah. I was him the oldest GP35 model to the Willamette Valley Railway, which the paint scheme is actually just straight up green, black, and yellow.
That's John Deere green.
God.
Yeah.
Also, that is old as dust.
We dipped it in green.
Yeah.
How much green? All green. It's just.
Is
But
now
the actual
green.
paint scheme is kind of that way too. I'll grab a picture of the paint scheme. I probably didn't do it justice at all on that old model, but it's there.
It's there.
It exists.
Of all the paint schemes I've seen, this is definitely one of them.
Okay, there's the picture of the actual paint scheme. I probably made it too dark. Yeah, definitely made it too dark, but
If the thing.
Speaking of things that are too dark, I heard this great joke about. Oh yeah, I heard this great joke about PRR paint the other day. It's like, it goes, how do you make Brunswick green? You take a can of black paint and open it and lean in real close and go, green.
Okay.
You take a can of black paint and whisper green into it.
Okie dokie.
I thought it was pretty funny.
Well, I guess the thumbnail for that didn't load, so here's another picture just in case. There you go.
Yeah, that one loaded.
I pulled it up.
Yeah, it looks just a little too dark.
Yeah.
Pretty close.
Yeah, your green is a little bit like forest
Dark.
green, and that is like
The
other one looked like lime.
Green. Yeah. And then the 7 next to it, like that's just a fixed one that I came up with. Willamette Valley Scenic, that based off of a
The
just
weird
something I felt
non-SP.
I'd do. Yeah. Not SP. I don't know. I just have the idea. It'd be cool.
Yeah. I still can't find this bridge.
Definitely doesn't have to do with a certain unused rail line near me.
Oh, excuse me. No, don't cough, please. I don't want to.
Find my phone.
Okay, what can I fill this space with before Wildwood gets back and we go do Logorona? Who else did we talk to while we were there? I mean, we saw a lot of great little modulars. I wish I had spent more time with like just looking around the Fremo stuff, because I really do love Fremo layouts.
Oh, they're so cool.
Yeah. Well, and
Like,
the guys. Sorry.
I kind of wish our, like, well, I guess to, like, kind of go off on something related. So, our club, we have a HO layout committee, and I'm on it. And we had a meeting a week ago or so. And the main topic of discussion was, like, construction standards. Because, Eric, I'm sure you might know, because they travel all around Ohio. But the Miami Valley Modular Railroad Club, or whatever they call themselves. Okay. TLDR, they're this modular club out of the Miami Valley area. They have like I don't even know how big their layout is. It's absolutely huge. It keeps getting bigger at every show I see it at.
Huh.
And they have a full like guide on their website about their construction standards. And it's, they're pretty typical for what you expect for a module, or what do you expect for a modular situation or setup. And then our club wants to adopt, or is discussing adopting something similar.
Mm-hmm. So they like Fremo standards?
No. Fremo, I wish we could do Fremo. And I mean, maybe we could.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if we ever got a new building, I'd advocate to do something at least somewhat modular.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, continue.
Yeah. They're all the way at the other end of Ohio from so that's probably why I've never heard of them.
Good point. I don't think they've been to Cleveland.
Probably not.
I should tell them to come on down to Cleveland Town.
Yeah.
Hey, everyone.
Did you get your drawings?
I did. I just purchased the most expensive flash drive in human history.
How much was
it? It was $100 for the scan.
Wow.
There is no way it took. There's no way it took even an hour to do that. Like,
Wow.
how does it? It's not like I got prints or they're this weird size or on weird paper. Literally, just hey, can you scan this roll of things? It's like probably 40 pieces of paper. Which, I mean, yeah, it's a lot of paper, but you literally just put it in the scanner and push a button.
Yeah.
That was really freaking expensive. Anyway, it's time for...
You're the one who does it.
Oh, I was waiting for somebody to correct me. I just realized halfway through saying that I didn't know if I had interrupted anything. Anyway.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay.
It is.
Best part of this program.
The best part. The moment you've all been waiting for. Okay, please send pictures of your engines so I can show the audience. We have Wywold participating because Eric is the only person. What's the word?
I am the only
I'm thinking,
person.
what's a word for bold, but not good? Oh yeah, dumb. Dumb enough to challenge Wywold.
Come on, Eric, get out your chair. But now they're going up against
the best part is he prefaced it tonight with, "I don't want to get my butt kicked. I'll fight."
Yeah.
I see you
Right.
choosing death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see you choose death.
You
So,
gotta know
in one
alternative
corner
here.
we have Eric with, what is this?
The Japanese Government Railway Class B6 or the Class 2120.
Okay. And in the other corner, we have Denver Railgun
This thing.
1-0.
1-0.
Wow.
1-0, fuck no.
1-0.
I like how there's a Rock Island tender in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah. They probably stole that.
Yeah, probably. That makes
Bobby with this.
Where are we?
Probably.
It's the picture, or the locomotive rather, is entitled Burnham Shop, so we know where we are.
Yeah.
But I don't think it knows where it is.
I don't think it knows what it
Somewhere on the border between life and death.
Kill me.
They say on the tank it says in Dutch, if found we turn to, and then burn them up.
This is the second repaint. The first time around, the R was backwards.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the right way
Just put
around.
it out of its misery.
Fuck.
Man, if that's in the drunkenness of the Rio Grande, I don't know what is.
I have to say,
I love this.
we need to have a throwaway line in The Horseman where someone, or a moment where someone returns Gabe because it says, if found, return to.
Yeah.
Because he has a sticker.
Yeah, on the back of his tender or something.
It's like freaking Toy Story. He's got Andy written on the back of it. Sharpie.
He says Jerry written on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you know how when
Crayon.
you go to the Model Railroad Club and you initial, you put magic marker on the bottom of your engine to initial who it belongs to.
Yeah.
You know?
Get him in the shop. Let's see who owns him.
Really? Again?
Get underneath him. Anyway,
Alright.
it's Locomotive versus. We
Yes.
have this proud Japanese thing versus
This other thing.
1-0.
1-0.
Oh, dear.
To clarify,
It's not number 10.
Yeah, it is not number 10 because this is just the opposite of 01. The implication, of course, is that one of these two came first, and the other people just swapped the numbers around to have their version.
I'm betting that Salt Lake just did it backwards, but still.
Oh, they forgot how to make a 10?
Yeah.
No, they couldn't have a 10 because clearly the 10 already existed.
Okay, got you. This is not 10, though.
No, this is 1-0. That's because the other one isn't net. It's not 10 backwards, it's 0-1.
Net.
This one is 1-0.
All
I
right.
half want that to be the title of the podcast. Not 1-0.
Yeah.
I was already writing it down.
In the Horseman universe, that's all it can say. It's like a Pokemon. It can't say anything except 1-0.
Oh, I'll talk about that next time.
1-0.
Why is all you say 1-0? Because I'm contractually obligated to. What was that? 1-0.
Because existence is pain. What? 1-0. Anyhow.
Anyways. Oh, I'm
Okay.
gonna throw the ball at you.
Who's gonna go? Okay, you'll give it to him. Okay. What a show of sportsmanship.
When were you built?
1904.
Oh, I lost that. 1881.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Yours looks so Victorian.
The score is currently 1-0.
Thank you. Or is it 01? Will we know?
Oh, I'm gonna destroy you with this one. How many?
How many were built?
Yes.
Wait.
There were 12 of what this is made out of, but there is only one.
And here comes the Japanese with their massive numbers of locomotives, 268.
Holy
Christ.
shit.
Why?
Of these.
Of these.
That's a lot. That's a lot of engines. It's a spicy meatball.
There can't be that many railroads on
All
this.
right.
There can't
You
be.
were... I'll go with that anyways. Who was your builder? Denver and Rio Grande, I take it?
No, I'm not sure how we actually handle this. It was built by Burnham Perry Williams and Company, which is part of it became Baldwin.
Yeah, we've treated that as
Oh.
Baldwin. That said,
Okay.
this is kind of an exception.
It's kind of both, because as far as a locomotive is concerned, it was built by Baldwin, and then it was altered by the Denver and Rio Grande Western.
Please don't do that again. Ouch.
And you can see where it was altered on the side of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, when they first built it, the R was backwards.
All right. Eric, who were your builders? Eric is still deaf. Eric is broken.
Eric died.
Come on down to Cleveland Town, everyone.
Eric says
Anime is
you
bogus. The Funimation One Piece was amazing. Or no, the Four Kids One Piece was amazing. I don't know.
The 4-piece. The 4-piece chicken nugs.
Hey, I've got a 4-piece right now, so
At
I
least
don't know what else can we say to.
All right, so this I'll cover these. Wait, which one is it? B6 2120. Okay, that's
Very
weird.
honorable of you.
That's weird. Just to throw this out there, the neighboring class, the not 2120 class, was also built by Burnham Williams and Co.
What the
Really?
hell?
Yes,
Okay.
Okay, who built the 2126?
several.
Oh,
Let's see if there's anything in here.
it's got to be said, it doesn't look American built.
Yeah, this was a big order for the biggest private locomotive builder in the British Isles.
Yeah, so 10 points to
they're
Gryffindor?
Dubs, Sharp, Stewart,
Okay,
Kobe.
I'm back.
Oh,
Cool.
he's back. Okay.
Oh, dear God.
He's alive.
Okay.
Listen,
I am
none
alive.
of those are Hitachi, so I'm going to give you the point.
Who's
Yay.
Okay.
I do.
Okay.
All right.
Well, I won't.
What's the meme with Plankton of...
Which one?
I don't know.
I didn't think I
I
could
didn't think I'd get this far. Yeah.
What is your driver wheelbase?
Driver wheelbase, 12.5.
11.75. What is your engine wheelbase?
19.75.
11.75.
Oh my god.
What is the ratio of driving wheelbase to overall engine wheelbase?
0.63.
1.
Why? He wins.
course.
Wow,
Of course.
amazing. Well done.
Ta-da! What is your... Okay. And I'm once again out of ideas. That's inaccurate, but okay.
I'm wondering what is inaccurate.
Let's do...
Why is the bell cable... Never mind.
That's a style point. We'll get there.
Okay.
Wait a minute.
We'll get there.
Okay.
Wait a
How
minute.
big are your cylinders?
My cylinders are... Oh, let me check out one. 15.98 by 24.02.
16 by 20.
Who wins?
Eric probably does, because I've just got a slightly bigger diameter, which is more, but... Although stroke is only good for fast, which we kind of cover with drive wheels.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking volume. I try to think about volume of cylinders.
Volume, I think he has it.
Okay.
Yeah, considering the fact that the other ones on here are 16 by 24, it's probably just
Okay. Metric conversion problems. Okay.
metric conversion.
Okay, got you. All right, Eric, you're up again. It's currently 3-4.
Okay.
Well, you've got some time now. Come up with some good ones.
The problem is, for as familiar as I am with the C-19s, I have no... Like, this is a very strange engine to me. Eric's is not 1.0.
It's not 1.0, no.
I think this is a strange engine to everyone.
Alright, I'll go with this. Driver diameter.
36 inches.
49.2.
Yeah.
Boiler pressure.
So, steam locomotive says 130, but that's not accurate because they were built with 130-pound boilers, but they were all converted, including 1.0, in, the early teens, to... I'm trying to remember what 346 runs at. I think it's rated to 160, and we just run her at 155.
Okay.
Alright,
So,
I have...
call it
That's
160.
more than ours. What the hell?
Yeah.
Alright, I'm gonna go that this is metric conversion again. 159.5, so it's probably supposed to be 160.
So it's a push.
It's a push!
All right, well,
Okay.
hope you use that time wisely. What have you got?
I did use that time wisely. I still have no idea what to do. What's your factor of adhesion?
Factor of adhesion 5.45.
Holy crap!
Yikes,
What?
that's bad.
4.07.
That's not
Which-
better.
It's
is
probably
that
not
so
complete.
good?
It's probably not completely accurate because that's for the C-19s, not with the water on top of the boiler.
And
That's
no,
still
and
It can't be worse than 5 point.
Yeah.
It's
God.
probably close to like 4.3 in the case of
Yeah.
1.0.
Yikes.
I can't even.
That is a
comprehend that.
dreadful factor of adhesion.
Yeah, just a tad.
I remember you saying
Um,
something about that earlier. Now I know.
No, what?
No, earlier it was like, wow, factor of adhesion, and I was like, that's either really good or really bad. Turns out it
Yeah.
was really bad.
It was really bad.
Yeah.
What is your gray area?
Great area. 14.42.
15.
Way to be those guys.
Yep. What is your firebox area?
93.65.
Damn it, 81.2.
Hey.
Fucking wagon tops.
I'm just gonna stick in this category.
You
What's
can't
your
say that on the show.
evaporative heating surface?
Tell me that, Ellis.
Wagon tops, I mean. That's offensive.
That's
Oh.
offensive. Sorry, what'd you say, Eric?
Evaporative heating surface.
927.
1,000.
Suspicious numbers.
Suspicious numbers. Well, I don't have that. So, combined heating surface?
Damn you, 927.
Hey, 1,000.
Wow.
Wow, who would have guessed?
Locomotion. Wow.
Yeah. It's now 7-6. The Japanese thing has taken the lead.
Oh, fuck.
And there it
There
goes.
goes my phone. Evaporative heating surface divided by cylinder volume.
199.
Shit.
Ha.
Oof.
179.35.
I can feed myself better.
Feed me.
Feed me.
But the question is, how much water?
You see more?
What'd you say, Milky?
How much water do you have?
Oh, no.
Who gets the answer first?
Does Wybold have an answer?
I don't.
I didn't think so.
Wybold has water.
Yeah, I don't. Before you ask, I don't have coal either. Like, I don't know.
For once, I actually have that.
They're probably pretty close though.
I wouldn't say that about the water tank, but
Maybe he's got a little bigger water tank, but the coal at least is pretty similar.
I'm running around with 2,000.
You've also got to remember 1.0 looks smaller because it's on standard gauge. It's surrounded by standard gauge stuff. This is a narrow gauge engine.
Yeah, I know. I'm
Eric's,
using the
Eric's I mean.
scale. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm running with 2,059 gallons, so who knows?
Can you fit 2,000 gallons in that little saddle tank?
2,059 gallons, yeah.
Possibly.
No, I don't know.
What?
I don't know.
I think we should not do this.
Yeah.
Okay.
If it was really obvious, like, oh, he's clearly the winner, that's fair, but I think it's pretty close, honestly.
Hey, Wybold, how about you go smack a tank on top of 346?
Yeah.
Yeah. 1-0.
1-0.
So who gets the question next?
Well, we'll
You
just
keep it.
Invalidate that. So
I'll
we'll
keep
just
it.
invalidate that. So yeah.
Okay. What is your minimum weight of rail?
Not very high.
1-0.
27.
Oh. Okay. All right, you. Listen here, you. 54.
Oh, boy.
It's not a very big engine. Recall this.
Yeah.
The C-19s threw out engines.
Clearly.
Kind of.
And we're back to it. Alright, I'm curious, what's your tractive effort?
16,902.
Okay, so there's another one. Steam Locomotive has it listed as 15,716, but that's with the lower pressure boiler. As we know, per the classification C-19, it went up to around 19,000.
Okay.
Okay.
And we know this is post the boiler conversion for 1.0 because it's DNRG W.
Gotcha.
So it's at least 1924.
Okay. Well, Eric, what was yours again? 16,000 something?
16,902.
Okay. Alright, well, we'll continue.
Robert Lemessina's power
Oh, here we go.
computation.
There we go. Ba, 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 ba.
Ba, ba, ba.
2,300.
Damn it. 1950.
Hey! Same as
Shot in the
above
dark,
plus-
that one.
Same as above plus superheater.
Do we have to?
Wait a minute.
1950.
2,300.
Wow,
I
amazing.
thought that...
Nobody could have guessed that outcome.
Wow.
Same as above, but substitute firebox area for grade area.
10,556.
14,937.
Mm.
Power L1.
2234.
3,444. Power MT.
30782.
Damn it. 247.3.
Ah!
Okay, wait. What? Sorry, I think I missed a couple. So we did...
That's four for Eric and 1 for me.
Okay.
He won at everything in that category except Power MT.
Okay, so I think it should be that and...
What is the score at this point?
13 to
13-10. It was close until that category.
Or 13-1-0.
It's a
One,
right,
oh.
yeah. 13-1.
Thank you, Milky. Thank you, Milky.
We gotta keep it going. We gotta keep it rolling.
Crumbs. What country are you from?
What?
What?
That's a category. Look,
Okay.
under railroad.
There's not a winner there. You don't...
You sure? Because we won the war.
Nope. That's not a recognized stat in this.
Madison
But where
came
did
over
your
to me-
Nintendo come from, Wybold?
Madison just came over to me and stole my little notebook on my desk so that I think she can write me a note instead of saying it out loud. Okay.
Hi, Madison.
What? I didn't want to interrupt the podcast. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Person-
Why was this
No, you did.
Hi.
Madison.
She can't hear you.
Oh, damn it. Never mind then.
Why was
Fine.
saying Madison?
What? What do you want from me?
1-0.
1-0.
What?
Do you see this locomotive? Do you see that number? What number is that? No, it's not. That is 1-0. She like looked at it intensely. It is 1-0.
I was gonna ask.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
1-0.
No.
All right. So we're not doing country.
We are not doing country.
All
We're
right.
not
How
doing
about
country.
axle loading?
Axle loading. Try again.
Okay. How about weight on drivers?
Wait on driver. Where did that go? Here it is. 92,109.
64,000 even.
Damn you.
Engine weight.
Engine weight. What the hell is it? Missile engine. I do not see a tender engine. Or tender engine.
Tender engine.
Yeah, tender engine. No, I don't have engine weight, which is weird.
Look, I had.
I have
Well,
total
your engine weight is going to be more than your weight on drivers.
No,
logically,
wait.
yes.
I am an idiot. No wonder I don't
No,
have
the,
total engine,
the,
because I
other,
have no
the
tender.
other wheels are full of helium.
I have
Yeah,
no
that's
tender.
because he loses this either way.
112,943 because I have no tender.
Whoop,
Oh
74,260.
my god.
And I think with that, we're going to go to style points.
Alright.
You don't want to ask what valve
12,
gear?
13.
Nope, because we have the same.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Yeah. You guys.
Pretty sure we do anyway.
Yeah. It looks like
So, style points. I started life in 1881
God damn it.
as a narrow gauge consolidation.
I was born a poor black child.
I was born Jebediah was a bullfrog. And then was converted, along with several of my sisters, to standard gauge. All of them were eventually converted back to narrow gauge, but I was kept because I was apparently good,
Special.
or they were lazy.
Plus, they
or
cared
something.
about your backwards R that you had for a while
Mm-hmm.
after you rebuilt. Or rebuilt.
Every letter in the alphabet, from A to backwards R.
Nah. Okay. So, you were converted back and forth. You had a very tumultuous life. Okay, that
I had a tumultuous childhood.
Yeah, you could have a point for
Additionally, I have all of the grab irons. All of them. They're everywhere.
Yeah. Safety.
I'm an ICC inspector's wet dream.
Are you sure about
that.
that?
And you've got
Yes.
chains.
Yeah.
I've got chains. Also, interestingly enough, and this one might actually start an argument, I've got an all-weather cab.
I technically do have an all-weather cab.
You can't shut those windows.
Yeah, no, you don't.
Yeah, Eric, how are you going to defend
Can you
yourself?
shut your windows? It doesn't look like
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
I see a blind. I do not see a actual shutter. I see an extra window there.
A lot of the time they would take the panes out because the larger guys would do what I do, and you would sit in the windowsill rather than on the seat box. So in place of the seat box, you would take the window pane out and put it there.
Okay.
Goodness gracious.
I'll allow it.
And this is a deckless cab, so you're shimmying right up there next to the boiler.
Yep.
Right?
And there are doors in front of you and behind you.
Like-
So you can shut all the windows and be completely enclosed.
Alright, so you have an all-weather
Except
cab, and you have doors.
And I have doors. Also, you can completely enclose yourself in this all-weather cab, unless you don't want to, because I have the weirdest roof vent I've ever seen. It's like a Clara story almost.
I thought that was part of the roundhouse back there.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
It's
I
part of the
did
cab.
too.
That's on the cab.
Okay.
Why?
Well, I was on multiple railways.
Yeah,
What?
that's fair.
Well,
I guess.
I have 2 air reservoir tanks.
okay.
Okay.
Where is your air reservoir, Wybolt?
I don't know. I know it
don't think
has
you-
air. I know it has air
Are
because
you sure about that?
it has air brakes. So
Does it? Yeah, I guess.
Do you have
It
another
does.
picture of one,
Like,
of
you
them,
can-
or is this the only one in existence?
this is the only picture I've ever seen of 1.0. And it has air
Wow.
brakes. You can see the brake cylinder under the cab, and you can tell the brakes are set. So either they've made air brakes that work off of atmospheric pressure,
Yeah, you know.
or it has an air res somewhere.
It's in the Clara story.
Probably.
Honestly, it looks like an air reservoir is molded into the bottom of the saddle tank.
I think they just made the saddle tank out of an old air reservoir, because I was looking at that like, where did they get a saddle tank for this? Because we didn't have any of those.
This is
You
horrifying.
stole it like you stole
Actually, that's not true. Some of the early narrow gauge 060s were saddles, but I think they just made the saddle bottoms out of an old air reservoir.
Oh my god. Okay.
I don't see a dynamo on you.
I don't have electricity. I don't believe in it. I think it's dangerous and unnatural, and I'm just going to go and use my lamp that's run off of essential oil.
Essential oils.
Essential oils. I don't see a headlamp either. Oh dear.
Yep, he has no electricity and no...
I mean, is that 2 points or is that 1?
Oh, I thought I said hi.
Well, you don't have a headlight, so that's a point there. Even if you did, it would have to be a flame light in that case.
I gave you a point because you have electricity.
I have electricity.
Yeah. You have electricity.
Fair
You know what I have?
What?
Creature comforts for brakemen.
Oh no.
Oh, boy.
There we go.
You see those big old footboards on the front end of the engine where the brakeman can stand? Not only does he have that, not only does he have a big handrail to grab right there, he has his own bell cord strung to the front of the locomotive.
Why?
The switchman can ring the bell.
Hold on.
What's the point of...
Hold on.
No.
I will argue that this is not a style point because it does not look like he has his own special bell cord. It looks like that is the only bell cord.
I think it is.
That is not true, because it is the only bell cord, but there's an air ringer on the bell, which is not at the front of the locomotive, so it must be in the cab.
That you can see.
There's an air ringer on that bell.
Look, there's a little piston right where the cord goes down, and the little pipe that comes out the back of it and sticks up.
Okay.
That is
Alright.
a piston air ringer.
Alright. Sure.
That passes the vibe check.
Yep.
Yeah.
Additionally, I have dual gauge couplers.
Do you?
Yeah.
I do.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Look.
Looks like it.
Yeah.
Not
It does.
only do I have dual gauge couplers, but separate style point, I have both knuckle couplers and Lincoln pin couplers simultaneously.
Pin.
Because why not?
What is wrong with you?
I don't know, but guess what else I have? Look above this piston and below the running board on the smoke box. I have 2 chains.
That's probably your Lincoln pin.
Potentially.
Hold on, there's
So
one
I'm
more.
not-
Actually, yeah, it probably is for that.
It's
So,
not
no,
for the
that-
Lincoln pin.
It probably is for the Lincoln pin. Do you really know that much about this locomotive where you can...
No, but I know that you can't switch with those chains. They've got hooks on the end. You're not going to do much with them.
That's for like rigging shit.
Yeah.
It's for style.
It's for style.
In fact, yeah, they're for style or something, because I don't know what you would do with chains there.
See, the thing that
there's-
this picture isn't telling you, because it is black and white, of course, is that those are gold chains.
Those are
This
gold
engine
chains.
is decked out.
Let's run it through.
I bet it would be. They built this abomination. They might as well have made it look pretty.
Let's run it through a color.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe they painted it
It's
green.
like the cleanest thing I've ever seen on the Rio Grande.
That's actually a fair point.
That is.
Yeah.
1-0.
Hold on. If we haven't given you a stat point already for it, how the bunker is so low. Well, it's low enough that a guy's sitting on.
This is a
Yeah.
style point. It looks like it's going to snap off.
It's a tailgate.
I like it, though, because it means you don't have to climb a ladder to get into the engine. It's like a staircase.
Yeah, it's a tailgate.
As opposed to Eric's engine, which, hang on, has a ladder that's tucked up under the running board. Also, I have 2 air compressors.
Where do you see...
Where?
On the other side. On the other side, because the C-19s had them.
But can we confirm that this engine had
Yeah.
it?
I don't know.
We don't know.
No, but the bunker is far forward enough that you still have room for both of the air pumps. Additionally,
Okay.
Well, that
They
may be the
either-
case. We still can't confirm.
All right.
those things.
What do the other co-hosts think?
I'm with Weibel. Knowing the Seacrest, yeah, it would probably be on the other side.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll get a point for that.
yay. I'm also both mechanically and hydrostatically lubricated. So, redundancy, yay.
Oh, welcome to the redundancy
Here's
department.
my dumb... I don't know anything about this moment. How can you tell that Eric isn't?
I actually haven't looked at his yet.
Okay, so that's not a point then. At least not automatically.
Potentially. He might be hydrostatically lubricated, but I can't see a mechanical one anywhere. That one we can...
Yeah, I think I'm going to leave that point off.
Let's brush
do
that
you
one
still
off.
exist?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a good...
I had a troubled childhood.
1-0 does not exist.
1-0. 1-0 no longer exists. No.
I still exist! One of me exists!
All right. What's your class survival rate?
One!
That is not... This is... 1-0 is... I'm not giving you credit for the other C19s. 1-0
Damn it.
exists as 1-0.
1-0.
Because if you may notice, this is neither a C, nor is it likely a 19.
It is a 19, Ellis.
It is a 19.
I don't know about that.
1-0. Also, I have double jointed rods, which are great for rough terrain. They became pretty much standard in later years, but your engine does not have them for whatever reason.
Double jointed?
Yep.
Question mark?
See how you've got on the number 3 axle?
Going from the front?
Okay. Number 3 looking in the direction of number 4. You've got the crank pin, and then you've got a secondary pin. So that the wheels, as the spring rigging is actually working, the rods don't bind up. They have a little bit of play in them.
Okay.
I see.
That was a pretty standard thing on engines. I'm kind of surprised I had to point it out, because it surprises me you don't have that.
Well, keep in mind, I don't know the whole mechanics of a steam engine. I guess you're... Enough, but...
Sorry.
I guess you're only 6-coupled, but...
Yeah, on one hand, yeah, it's only six coupled. On the other hand, it's also that... I guess... I feel like this is a very British-looking engine, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel like it goes with that aesthetic. Not that aesthetic matters here, but you almost expect these engines to have the straight rods with no extra...
Very clean, straight rods. Yeah, very nice lines without bolt heads and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. I mean, look at my main rod.
Yeah, I've been looking at it.
Hey. Also, I have a little bit more braking power, because I doubt that trailing truck has brakes on it.
Can't tell, at least from that picture.
You allegedly have air brakes.
Yeah.
Well, it has to. Look, you can see the linkage and you can see that it is set. The shoes are tight against the wheels and the piston is out.
This guy's actually just got a bike pump on in the cab.
I don't put it past them, please.
And before we find a actual picture of its cab, and there, lo and behold, is a brake pump.
Also, because I know where the washout plugs are on this style of boiler, you can get to all the washout plugs even though the saddle tank's there.
Ooh.
The box tank, you're going to have a hard time.
Ooh, actually, we could take your standard gauge, narrow gauge thing away from you, because I was also converted to standard gauge.
Really?
Huh?
Yes. I was also converted to standard gauge.
That's interesting. Why?
I don't know. I don't
confused Tim Allen noises.
Because of when we were sent to, what is that, China? China, yeah.
China. All right.
Of course.
Okay.
Thank you, China. Very cool.
Well, I got obliterated.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought you didn't want to lose.
Well, I figured I'd at least have a chance.
Put up a good fight.
At least we got 1-0.
1-0.
Alright, so let me put this in the document and then we'll cast our votes.
I thought it was a lot closer than that, actually.
Yeah.
It was until the style points happened.
Yeah.
This is why.
Next up, I'm looking up versus in the Chronicles to 1-0. 1-0 versus Uinta Railway 062.
No. You would lose.
Leave the poor Uinta engine out of this. One oh.
1-0.
1-0 versus Uinta 51.
I've now fought. I've made a point out of every time I discover something like this that the Rio Grande has made, I need to fight in locomotive versus with it.
Usually Eric.
Usually.
Yeah.
No, I fought. Did I fight Eric with cancer? I thought I fought Chris with cancer.
You did not fight me with cancer.
Chris fought 01.
Yes.
What was cancer?
Cancer was. Oh god, I can't remember the number on it. 578. I want to say 538. I can't remember which.
I think
it was a mogul that got the same treatment from the Salt Lake shop.
Ooh.
Yep.
Wait,
Only went up against
whose
B&M.
was 01?
The Rio Grande?
Yeah. Okay. Well, no, I mean, which shop?
Salt Lake.
Oh, okay. So they. Oh, that's right. They have the two of them.
Near as we can tell, 01 replaced Cancer because 01 is such a bigger and more modern engine.
Gotcha.
I didn't know. I always thought it was a Salt Lake thing to do this to engines. I didn't realize that Burnham engaged in such jackassery.
I guess it's just a. I'm surprised you would think they wouldn't.
I didn't say that I didn't think so. I just never seen a picture to prove it.
Yeah, again, why
And then
they,
we found 1-0.
But yeah, again, these are the same guys that made you Mikado.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's cast our votes. I don't actually know who I want to vote for. I don't.
I know who I want to vote for.
That's bad considering I know you hate 1-0 on a spiritual level.
I don't. Well, I feel like 1-0 is a less egregious thing than like 01 or Cancer. I don't know why. I like it a little bit more than those engines.
I kind of like it.
But at the same time, I really like the look of the B6. I think it is a really sleek looking engine.
Yeah.
I'll give him that.
So
He does look pretty good.
So I think I'm going to give it to the B6. I think it's a little odd, but, you know, a little odd beats out 1-0 by a wide margin.
Beat of odd.
Oh my god, it's a brass chunker.
Alright, so Milky, Jader, what do you guys think?
Alright,
I don't know.
1-0.
1-0.
1-0.
Yeah,
Because I really like the C crash. I really do.
I'm sort of in the same camp as Milky. I'm voting for 1-0.
1-0. Okay.
1-0.
So it's 2-1.
2-1.
2-1-7.
Alright, so that's that locomotive versus over and done with.
Oh, I forgot I have a spark arrestor.
Yeah, I was
too late
wondering
now.
if you were going to mention that.
I don't know. There were a few that I wound up just not going for. Again, I didn't realize it was leading by so much.
Yeah. Alright, I'm actually going to switch who we're watching. Oh, I forgot to give the shout out to who we're watching. Playing Factorio. And now we're going to watch Dean playing Heroes and Generals.
Hey.
So, let's talk about the news then. I'll clean this up. You guys forge onward. What do we have in the news this
Alright,
week? What
good
is it?
news, everyone!
Oh no.
There's a 1309 update.
What?
Never good news. It is never
Pretty
good
sure
news.
Yeah.
That's the point.
This is bad.
So,
I actually read this.
where the hell was it? For the first time in 80-year history of this publication, we are this is on trains, by the way. We are committing to an ongoing fundraiser for a preservation project. We're asking you, the help team. The Baldwin Locomotive Works last engine built for domestic use.
We are
1309.
once again asking for your financial support.
Thank you,
God
Bert.
damn it. I have that saved. Hold on.
I do too.
So basically, it seems like Trains.net is, or Trains.com is trying to run a fundraiser to get 1309 run.
They've been suckered in.
Well,
They've been suckered in. The restoration stalled and shut down for lack of funding. Locomotive is 85% complete, they say.
Right.
Right.
Doubt.
Right.
So, yay, 1309. Good job. Keep going. You do that thing. I'm not giving you any money.
No.
Oh, yes.
You get nothing.
At this point, it's like we're neighbors. We're like, no, you can keep working. You can keep working. It's okay. We know. Oh man, you know who is working though? Amtrak is working. Amtrak is working hard on the Avelias. In fact, the Avelias are on their way, or well, the prototype is on its way to Pueblo.
I was corrected the other day.
Yeah.
They're not the Avelias.
Oh no, what are they?
They're just Acela. I think they planned to rebrand everything with Avelia, and then decided that all the marketing and everything was just not worth it, so they're just the new Acela units.
Okay, well, they're still Avelias.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess that's true, because all the branding is staying the same, but the Avelia prototype is on the move, on the way to the test track. Unfortunately, there was an article in here that mentioned the fact that there may be some delays with the full production run and getting these things out there, but this is still a major step, Eric. I'm just going to steal this from you because now I've covered it.
Okay. You can steal.
Yeah, they're saying that there may be some issues with manufacturing and contracts, and they wanted to launch them next year, which I thought was actually a pretty tight timescale considering they're just getting the prototype out. So
that was pretty tight.
So it's it doesn't even say that they're officially delayed. It says they could be jeopardized. So I guess there's still hope in a manner of speaking, but yeah.
Honestly, even if they're not ready for next year, it's, understandable.
Yeah, well, one of the things that I learned about the Acelas is how not well liked they are among, just in Amtrak. It's not like the engineers don't like them and stuff. It's that they have a reputation. They're called the something pig or the something hog because apparently they're super power hungry, and they're relatively inefficient as far as things go, and Amtrak is quite happy to be rid of them as soon as they can. So I know there's a lot of speculation. I've even indulged in some of it that the Acelas would get refurbished and come back as as like on the Keystone Corridor or something like that, or as a lower speed express compared to the new Acelas or the Avelias. But I don't. The more I hear about them, the less I think that's happening because they're the pig.
Well, didn't they find some of the same problems that they were having with the HHP8?
Yeah, they did. They did.
Aren't some of those problems common, but they just had to keep the Acelas because they had sunk so much money into them as units?
Yeah. In my understanding, they had some of the same issues, but while they could fall back on the AEF7s instead of the HHP8s, they had no replacement for the Acelas, so they just had to bite the bullet and fix them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's... That's the situation with them.
It doesn't shock me that they're not very well liked.
Yeah. I mean, I still want to take a ride on one. I've never been on a Acela.
Really?
Yeah, no, it's...
Really? Oh, man.
Especially for where I go. If I'm going somewhere in the Northeast Corridor, I'm probably going to New York City. Between here and New York City is Connecticut, and Connecticut is real windy shoreline track that's over 150 years old. And the Acelas, they have no advantage there, other than they skip stops, so it's never worth it for me to take the Acela over the regional if I'm going to New York City. Because it doesn't save me hardly any time.
Right.
So, Yeah, that's and it costs significantly more. I mean, the lowest class on NSL is business class, so
Right.
it's pricey. I want to do it, and I intend to before they go away, but I have not been able to justify the cost.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, speaking
It's
of
expensive.
justifying the cost, I'd like to turn our attention just for a moment to a more transit-related thing in our free autonomous shuttle, Little Roadie. And there's a Seattle Times article about our self-driving buses, and the reason they're brought up is that Seattle is looking for something similar. Now, the company that runs them actually has things all over the U.S. where they're using these little electric shuttles. And I think this is just a great little article that breaks down all those locations. There's one in Providence, there's one in Pittsburgh, there's one in Columbus, there's one in Grand Rapids, Burlington, San Jose, Chandler, Temp.
I think Columbus, Ohio, is it?
Yeah,
San
Columbus,
Jose
Ohio.
has one?
What?
The
What?
Easy Mile 15 passenger vans will go 50 miles per hour in January on residential roads following May Mobility's 2019 test downtown. So they had a test last year of auto buses. And so they're going to...
I've seen these things.
Yeah. So...
Is that what they're called? Auto buses?
Well, actually, CGP Grey said we should just call them autos, and I really, really like that name.
Yeah.
But until you introduce someone to them, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, the autos. But in industry, they're usually called AVs for automated vehicles. But yeah, this is just a really neat breakdown of these here. And there's also a Reddit thread that goes with it, because I like to link the Reddit thread, because I love to see these conversations about Rhode Island drivers, etc., etc. For example, what was it? One of the quotes in here somewhere is that in Massachusetts, all the drivers operate under this horrific set of rules. You know, it's chaos, but there are rules. In Rhode Island,
Which you
there
have
are no
described. Which you have described, and they are terrifying.
In Rhode Island, there are no rules. Rhode Island drivers are the worst. It's everyone's, they also turn without stopping at stop signs. I think there's a vending machine that just dispenses driver's licenses.
Probably.
Yeah. Oh yeah, quote, in Massachusetts everyone follows the same made-up rules. In Rhode Island there aren't any rules.
Welcome to Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Yeah.
Where everything's made up and the points don't matter.
Exactly. So, that's a little
But
roadie. That's your little roadie update. I like
But you
seeing
know
those
what
guys.
isn't made up?
What isn't made up?
BART's contract for their communication space train control system.
Oh yeah. This is actually a huge step for them.
Yeah, it is. Over the next few years, or 11 years, Hitachi Whale.
Yup.
That's a familiar name. Those that follow the podcast.
Or those
but-
who...
Follow
Never mind.
Have a premium subscription?
Yeah. Those who...
Oh, yeah.
Let's leave it there.
Those who have heard of
okay.
hysterical literature.
Ah,
I'm not sure I catch that one,
That's
but
okay.
okay.
It's a reference to it. There's a thing. It's called hysterical literature. I can share it with you later. Don't worry.
Okay.
but anyways, this system will enable BART to more precisely direct train location, allowing they see the one trains closer together. Doing so will add capacity and decrease travel times. Nice.
Ooh, that is good.
And maybe you can take a ride to their nice stations that are being modernized.
Come on, ride the
Yeah,
train.
Bart is actually
and ride it.
Yeah.
things.
Yeah, I BART. They do good
Is
things.
Bart broad gauge for some reason?
Are they?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Why?
I don't know what you know what? Next time I see my guy that worked at BART, I'll ask him.
Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Actually,
Even though he was-
Yay!
if we're mentioning Hitachi, Bombardier, while they remain in quote-unquote active talks with Alstom over a merger of the company's rail equipment manufacturing, the Canadian firm has also approached Japan's Hitachi about a possible deal. So we could see either Bombardier Alstom merger for rail equipment or a Bombardier Hitachi rail equipment merger.
That'll be interesting.
That would be in response to the attempt for the Alstom Siemens merger, which was blocked, I think, last year or the year before. Just wait until we have the Hitachi Siemens merger.
That's gonna say.
I heard your giggle. I heard it. I just.
Well, speak of good vibrations.
Oh God.
The Durango and Silverton has recently rolled out a project that they've been working on for 5 years now. 4 years now.
I don't know. When did your botany start?
4.5, I guess. We'll call it 4.5 years. Locomotive 493 has returned to steam at long last. Ella said not lovingly, but has just dubbed it the green engine.
It wasn't
because
totally.
it is. It's not painted green, but it's been dubbed by the PR people at the Durango and Silverton as "quote unquote" green.
Then it might as well be green.
Well, we know it should be.
Yeah.
It should be green.
Well, actually, no. Sorry.
Because
it has to
we know it was.
Yeah.
I will not agree.
We know
that
it
should
was.
Be.
That's fair. It could be, but we can all agree that it was green.
Most
at
of
one
us,
point,
anyway.
literally.
So what we need to do is make sure that we call it the green engine wherever possible, because this is, this isn't me necessarily doing it. The DNS is converted to oil firing this engine, and that is, that is a green thing. So this is the green engine.
Green in big air quotes.
Now
There.
they could take it a step further and convert it to Bexy oil.
That'd be hilarious.
Ugh.
Green engine.
They could also just burn weed in the firebox, and then nobody would complain about the train. All the Durango's railroad-hating hippies would be like, "Hey, man, the train's coming! Dude, it's the green train, man! Yeah, the stinky green."
That's great.
Now, they're not the only ones that have complaints about the train service, though. In fact, our glorious leader, Kim Jong-un, who, as we know, has no butthole, is
our glorious leader.
Wait a minute.
Is
does have one, actually.
No, you're wrong. Because he produces no waste, because he is a perfect being.
No, I said our leader. I think our leader does have one.
Oh, okay. Sorry. No, but Kim Jong-un. There have been services affected. I'm not sure exactly. It doesn't explain why, but North Korea's Ministry of Railways suspended all passenger services crossing the border to Russia. First of all, I wasn't aware of any of these to begin with. I'm kind of surprised that they exist.
Ditto.
I don't know who is riding them, aside from our glorious leader. But the trains crossed the border via a bridge over the River Tumen, and there were
It's not a Tumen.
There were 4 services affected, so there are 4 different services. Train 652 and 651, which is Ussyrisk to Tumagan. The Pyongyang to Moscow service, which I didn't know existed. The Pyongyang to Khabarovsk service. Khabarovsk, sorry, thank you. And the Tumangan to Moscow service. So, if you had to book travel from Russia to North Korea, you can obtain a full refund from Russian railways. And also...
Does anyone else think it might be kind of fun to ride a Moscow to Pyongyang service?
It's a long way to go, but I'm sure it'd be pretty entertaining.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's like, that's more than the equivalent of crossing Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That might just be kind of a fun journey. Not to mention afterwards you can say, yeah, we rode the train from Moscow to Pyongyang and survived.
Yeah, and along the way you can make some friends, learn Russian, rob the bar car.
Yeah.
The bar car.
I'm the
Put
machine.
on Sonic style.
Also, Mongolia's Ulaanbaatar Railway suspended all services between Mongolia and China from February 1st to March 2nd due to concerns about the spread of the coronavirus.
Stupid Mongolians.
So,
All right, well,
Trying to kung flu like.
well. Speaking of our
Winnie the
foreign
Pooh.
news, there's a bit of foreign news we can go over. There's a new bullet train coming out, and this
uh-oh.
Hey.
I will fix it.
The link doesn't work?
No, the link doesn't work.
Ah! That's unfortunate.
So I went and got our good friend the Wayback Machine, and I got the article.
Hey.
Okay. Why?
So we can still
Okay.
look at the article.
I made that
switched the
first.
link out so you can
Yeah.
click it. So, starting July 1st, there will be new bullet trains run out. These will be new N700Ss. They are the first model that Central Japan Railway has rolled out in 5 years. The company plans to introduce 5 of the trains before the games, the Olympic Games this summer, and 40 by March 2023.
Nice.
Each one will feature new security measures. Each carriage is fitted with 6 surveillance cameras, while the current model only has 2.
How
Plus,
dare
it can also draw power from built-in lithium-ion batteries to continue running in the event of power outages.
they? Jeez.
I heard an
So-
interesting story about power outages.
Oh boy.
The apparently when the ever problem-plagued Denver A line was being put into service,
Mm-hmm.
they made no backup plan in case of a power outage because such a thing would never happen.
Of course.
A week into operation,
It happened.
the power went out and a train was stalled on the bridge over Pena Boulevard, which Ellis, you'll know is the big long road
Oh,
that
yeah.
leads to the airport.
Yeah, that's a heck of a
So-
bridge, too.
Yeah, and there was nobody on the train that knew what to do or knew if help was coming, so they just started self-evacuating on a bridge over Pena Boulevard.
Oh my god.
Nice.
Oh no.
And also going on in Japan, there's a new museum open.
Yay!
It's a bit dodgy because it's a Japanese website, but it opened on January 21st, 2020 of this year, obviously. And it's apparently a history of this railway's history, from what I gather
Right.
from Google Translate.
Yeah, that was a difficult
It's
article to figure out what's going on in, because I don't know
that's
Japanese.
what I understand from it.
Well, speaking of museums preserving history, Seashore Trolley Museum now owns a Canadian name from Toronto.
Yeah,
One of those CRBs, which I heard a while back that it had been unofficially sold, but now it's officially sold to Seashore, and hopefully they do some good stuff with it. They're going to re-gauge it, the standard gauge, because I think it's I think it's quad gauge right now.
Oh boy.
And I look forward to seeing what they do with it, and hopefully they build another car barn to get their cars
Yeah, they need
undercover.
one.
Particularly that Pacific Electric car that they have. And by the way, if you're not interested in that, call me.
If you're
Putting that out
if
there.
you're listening, Seashore Trolley Museum,
Yeah.
it's okay, Milky. We'll go over there next year, next summer. It's on the list.
Yep.
Anyway, speaking of trolleys, SEPTA's historic Route 15 trolley service is going to be replaced with a bus for an undetermined amount of time, at least a year.
Big sad.
Because apparently it's broken. So
Oops.
SEPTA is
Sad face.
Except don't.
yeah.
SEPTA.
Also,
Okay.
SEPTA is SEPTA and
Acceptance.
Acceptance.
and they're going to have to do significant work on this. But of course, everyone is jumping to the idea that, well, what's going to happen is they're going to replace it with a bus service, and then, oh well, I guess the trolleys just aren't going to come back. Sorry.
Hey, I've seen this one
Yeah.
before.
Wait,
Yeah,
this
gee.
seems familiar.
So there's a petition, and thankfully SEPTA, I believe, released an official statement like, no, we're not doing that. End of the
Good.
line for the PCCs, not
Very
so
good.
fast, says SEPTA.
Awesome.
So
No.
buses will replace the streetcars because of a number of road projects. The officials say the eastern portion of the line has already operated with buses for a number of years because of continuing construction projects on I-95 nearby. They're making this temporary change to all bus service on the Route 15, due in part to 2 upcoming construction projects on Girard Avenue. And they expect the buses to remain through 2021. So, the news that the PCCs were taken off the streets fueled fears that historic cars may never return. In the early 90s, SEPTA temporarily placed its streetcars on 3 different routes, but the green and cream PCCs did not return to regular service until 2005, and only after years of political pressure. And it was only on 1 route.
Years of political pressure.
Yeah.
Hey. Put these back. Yeah.
Put that back
Like-
where it came from.
Yes, it's Lego City. This is what politics are.
Yeah.
Hey!
I love it. Hey! You can build the broken PCC car.
Now,
Or you
actually,
can build.
There's a thing that's been floating around on Reddit that's like, carload hours are down in Sherwood. Hey! You can build the new Norfolk Southern ST70
Oh my God.
Island on Horseshoe Curve. Fire the crew and sell the engine for scrap.
Hold on. Hold on.
Norfolk
I've
Southern
seen
collection
this
from
one.
Lego City.
Hold on. I have it somewhere.
Oh, that's great.
okay, now, if we want to talk
Oh.
about the fights between streetcars and buses, look no further than Tampa, where there was a literal fight between a streetcar and a bus.
Oh, I saw this too.
The bus was cited for failure to obey a traffic control device after
Of course.
it pulled out in front of a streetcar, which hit it.
On a left-hand turn, no less.
Yes.
Nice.
And
For the
There's
man.
there's not an excuse for that one, guys. You literally just didn't check your blind spot and just went for it.
yeah. So,
Well, piggybacking off of trolleys,
yeah.
Old Spaghetti Factory is looking buying, or is in the process of buying, the Spaghetti Warehouse in,
The Spaghetti
Yeah.
Warehouse?
Yes.
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 Spaghetti Factory is buying the Spaghetti Warehouse.
They're securing their
Oh,
spaghetti supply
okay.
chain.
Yeah.
I was gonna say,
It's called
we've got this whole like spaghetti logistics regime going.
vertical spaghetti integration.
And the part of their plan is to steal streetcars. Because that's what they do.
Oh, the Spaghetti Warehouse is getting in on the Spaghetti Factory's racket, huh?
Apparently, Spaghetti Warehouse closed their doors, and the Spaghetti Factory is moving in to continue the production of spaghetti.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
I'm showing the audience this comic.
Oh, good.
I can't show the whole thing, but
Eggs and Noko must be. For anyone.
Funny thing is that Maersk engine was actually a set for a while.
yeah, I
was.
saw it.
I
They have a big.
I have it sitting in the tote.
Oh, you do.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Anyway.
So how about some Amtrak versus
Oh no.
Oh, no.
Amtrak versus wheelchairs?
Oh yeah, we covered the beginning of this. I'm glad we got a happy ending here.
Okay, so Amtrak has backed away from the $25,000 charge, and they will carry Illinois passengers in wheelchairs at regular price.
Thank you, Amtrak.
Yeah, thanks,
Nice
Amtrak.
job, guys.
For
Nice
not
job, guys.
Just utter douchebags. Thank you.
But wait, there's more. Now they're taking on the NAACP.
Oh, God.
Oh no.
Amtrak conductor tried to force NAACP give up her seat.
Sorry,
Oh,
we broke up a
no.
little bit. Amtrak conductor tried to force an NAACP Legal Defense Fund exec to give up her seat.
Wait a
Oh
minute.
dear. Amtrak.
Almost like 2 days away from Martin Luther King Day.
Oh.
Amtrak.
Yeah.
There are no assigned seats on this train.
You filthy
The
people.
conductor has asked me to leave my seat because she has, quote, other people coming who she wants to give this seat. Can you please explain? That was her tweet.
Demonetization.
Yeah.
Ugh. Amtrak. What? You do one good thing, and then you just throw it all out the window.
Well, and they even have another article here that you also took. Like,
Yes.
Basically being like, Amtrak is not going to care about the things that we've done in the past, and we're...
Exactly.
It's not about
So
nostalgia.
you're gonna forget about your whole reason for existing?
It's not that
Yeah.
we don't have these trains because we like trains. We have these trains so that we can have a semi-competent national passenger rail network. Like every other developed country on the planet.
Exactly.
And North Korea, apparently.
Yeah.
Like, come on, guys, really?
Hey, North Korea is the most developed country on the planet because...
Of
they
course. Because of their genetic lack of buttholes?
No, it is only Glorious Leader that has a lack of butthole.
Oh, please, because he's never screwed anyone before and it was immaculate conception.
Of course.
Yep.
All I'm saying is, if he doesn't have a butt, I'm sure that half their population doesn't have a butt by now.
It's because of the unicorn, man.
But he didn't even, the Kim family lineage wasn't even derived from, from normal reproduction. It was, they were a gift from God.
Oh, so they're bad at sex.
Of course. No, I don't know. Anyway.
I like the answer, of course.
Of course.
I mean, in fairness, I wouldn't think that Piggly Wiggly would be too great at it,
Jesus.
but,
Why is this in here?
What's the George Carlin? Do these people...
The sheer mechanics of it are beyond comprehension.
Well, then how about some good news then?
Yeah.
Like Eric trying to put it back on track.
Let's get back. 3801 is running.
The
Hey!
Amtrak Nostalgia
After being
article is actually a
off
great
Steam for, God, how long?
A long time.
A long time.
Since
They've-
the late 90s.
Yeah. So they've got it running again. Now she just needs a nice, good, fresh coat of paint and she'll be ready to go.
3801.
Meanwhile,
Who don't want to click on it is the, the green...
It's the Australian i5.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's an i5, sorry, yeah.
Crikey.
Okay.
Crikey.
Crikey.
Right.
well, that engine's running. Pulsing Nogging 90 is on her first step. George's restoration.
Yay.
They removed her tender tank, which is going to be refurbished. Probably built new. But,
Yeah.
Wait, is that a Southern Pacific tender? That's
No,
Tender tanks are like pairs of pants.
that it's a little bit
Sure.
misleading. It's not actually a Southern Pacific engine at all.
Okay.
It's the Ogden Mikado masquerading as a Southern Pacific Mikado that they never owned.
Ooh.
Or I don't think they own anything close to it either. But it was just put on display next to a Southern Pacific brand sign, so put SP on the side. Yeah. Maybe it's like the opposite of that one Santa Fe or Southern Pacific engine that was from the one on the Santa Fe 5021. Maybe they painted Southern Pacific so they could run it on SP.
Maybe.
Maybe. I don't know. Other than it's being restored right now, which is great.
That is good. That is very good.
It's sat in the park for 60 plus years, and they're going to fix it up.
Yeah, it's good to hear. It's exciting.
God.
What?
But,
We'll look at this later. It's not even related to trains, but
oh
no.
boy.
it's something that you will identify with personally. Alice.
Oh, no.
You'll appreciate it on a spiritual level.
Okay, well,
We
were
know
talking
is
about...
related to the train.
We were talking about food and trolley cars earlier, right? With the spaghetti factory.
Yeah.
Now, I was doing a wander around with Madison the other day, and we happened to run into something that I did not know existed, or maybe it hasn't previously, because I've been there many times and never noticed it. Which is the Lorraine Diner, which is in Pawtucket, or North Providence, thereabouts. It's right outside of the Lorraine Mills complex, which is how it gets its name. It is a 1941 streamlined diner from the Worcester Lunch Car Company, which this is not a rail car that was converted into just a diner. This is a purpose-built rail car-esque diner.
Huh.
And it was there were only 23 of them ever made, and there were only 7 or 8 left, including one that's located at the Henry Ford Museum in Michigan. And
so wait, I'm confused. It was built as a diner that was styled to look like a train car.
Exactly.
Okay.
And it is it's run by this guy who owns a bunch of little restaurants in Rhode Island, and he's I don't know, he's excited to run the place. What's unique about this one is that it has a bar with an entrance made to look like a speakeasy.
That's kind of cool.
I'm looking forward to checking this place out. Madison suggested that we go there for Valentine's Day, so...
Oh, cool.
We're totally very nice. If not on Valentine's Day, that weekend.
That should be fun.
Yeah, it should be really fun. It was just like, whoa, what is that? We just drove by and I was like, hold on, I don't think I've seen that before. I just happened to stumble across an article for it. And
there's no mention of where it was previously?
It was... Hold on. It was in New Haven previously.
Oh, interesting.
So it's come a little ways.
You know what else has come a little ways?
What?
White Path 61.
Yeah, that's good to hear.
Stothy's art project.
Yeah. Yeah, he's been doing quite a bit of brazing work to her cylinders.
Cast new ones.
Yeah, no, they look bad.
Like, they look terrible, but the brazing job is so beautiful. It's like, wow, that's amazing, Stothy. Why?
Yeah.
Why did you do this?
How much money is being saved here?
Yeah. You've put the entire Western world supply of brass into this cylinder. Okay.
Because he could.
I guess. And he's proven that. There was a quote yesterday about Stothy from somebody at the museum. We had our volunteer banquet and we were talking about this, and somebody piped up and said, you know, I admire that about Stothy. He's not afraid to try anything. It's like, yeah, I admire that. I admire that in a person. He is not afraid to try something.
Yeah. That's true. Well,
he's trying something all right.
Well, trying to rebuild an engine bugs it.
Yeah. Well, speak of a lot of brass and old, worn-down locomotives.
Oh boy.
The Disney World Railroad is shutting down for a little while. They're apparently building a new Tron coaster, which I know they had plans for like a decade ago, but never did. Mm-hmm. But apparently that's happening now. I'm imagining it's over in Tomorrowland. So for the time being, the tracks are obstructed and the railroad is closed. They've parked the number 1 engine, their little American, in Main Street Station for people to take pictures with. A little bit like they did with number 4 when Disneyland's railroad was down a few years back.
Wait a minute, number 1?
I don't know. It's a red American.
Is it Walter at Strasbourg right now?
I don't know. It's a red American.
Hold on. It's a red American, you say?
Yep. That's the picture anyway.
Oh, okay. No, that's not Walter. That is Roy O. Disney. That's the number 4.
Oh, okay. It's a red American with a balloon stack.
Yep.
Okay. Well, then they've had number 4 at the station, and you can take pictures with it. A little bit like they did with Disneyland when it was closed in.
But, bad news coming out of Britain.
Uh-oh.
Oh?
Fury as Darlington set to lose locomotion number 1 to Shieldon.
Sheldon.
This
Children, thank you.
inter-town rivalry stuff is getting pretty intense.
Yeah, this is getting bad. So the National Railway Museum actually owns the engine. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
Darlington
I
was
read
displayed
this.
the
I read this article like 3 times and still didn't understand what was happening.
Darlington
So-
was
If I understand it correctly, the
Yes.
National Railway Museum owns this locomotive and has had it on display in Darlington for many years because that's where it's from.
Mhm.
Now they want to move it elsewhere, and the locals are upset that this engine that has been in their town for so long is leaving,
Oh, okay.
even though it's not their engine. Which still confused me because isn't the NRM in York, not
It
Shildon?
is.
They have like outposts or some shit.
They're just moving exhibits
Okay.
around, I guess. Or
I
this
guess
particular
because
exhibit.
Rocket went to York not long ago.
Yeah.
Did Rocket go to York?
Rocket went to York.
Oh, okay.
Well,
I don't know if it's still there, but it went to York for a time.
would you like some good news out of Britain?
Sure.
The Snowdonia railway line, which has been shut for 80 years, could soon be reopened. This is this is in somewhere in North Wales, and it would connect...
Snowdonia. It's a national park.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yes.
It could be rebuilt to link basically the Festiniog to, I guess, Snowdonia. So
That'd be cool.
the North Wales slate industry is currently subject of an application for World Heritage status, and Festiniog Railway officials have begun considering options for the branch line, or for the branch, including the reconnection from the town station, which it shares with the standard gauge Conwy Valley line, to the, I'm not going to try to pronounce that quarry. So, yeah. Sort of, I guess I'm understanding that this would connect the Festiniog to the outside world by rail, but not really, because they're different gauges, but it would let you get there by rail.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
You can already do that.
Okay.
Well, and then you can travel between Wales
Britain is
on
confusing.
narrower Wales.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
the other one is, I don't know. I'm hesitant to believe that this is going to happen only because of the last time they rebuilt Snowdonia, which was the Snowdon Mountain, or not the Snowdon Mountain Railway, the Welsh Highland Railway.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of upheaval about it. It's like, even though you're rebuilding this old railroad, do we really need it again? And is it just better to leave it be? And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. There's a lot of, I think, ruffled feathers over in that area in particular about rebuilding railways. So I don't know. It'd be interesting to see it rebuild.
Yeah.
It'd be really cool. I think that national park has like 8 railways in it already, though, because they house the Snowdon Mountain, the Talyllyn, the Festiniog, the Welsh Highland, the other Welsh Highland, and then there's a couple smaller ones that they escape me, as well as all the British rail connections in Wales.
What's one more?
Yeah.
The British like trains, and I like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just
You know
just
who
like
else
Japan. They
really
love their
likes
trains.
trains?
Japan?
Floridians?
Yeah, Floridians.
Oh no,
I like
Florida
that
has
no.
to do
too
now.
much, actually.
Florida man.
In fact, we have multiple articles about bright line deaths, but not specifically about a particular bright line death. More about the trend on the whole. Officials in Florida consider legislation aimed at curbing the high number of deaths. I don't know what you're going to do with that.
It's not going to fix
legislation.
Florida man.
Too many people take unnecessary chances by driving around the gates and running across the tracks. 75% of the incidents we've seen are the results of suicide or drugs. Suicides on train tracks are a national problem. Rail safety activists aren't convinced. We say it's baloney that a high percentage is suicide. We believe that trains have communities everywhere, probably with drugs and alcohol addictions, but not like this. There are not enough safety features in between pedestrian gates, pedestrian channeling, pedestrian bridges, and pedestrian fencing. And there's a fight about how much the fencing costs. and this and that and the other thing, and there's another article here from Progressive Railroading, which names the states with the highest numbers of fatal railroad trespasser incidents over a
Brace
5-year
yourselves.
period. Yeah, okay.
Long-time listeners of the podcast are going to be shocked by this statistic.
Okay, so we have 3, which, I mean, they're not exactly surprising, but it's like, okay, they're here because they're huge and they have a lot of people and they have a lot of trains in them. That's California, New York, and Texas. They're big,
Yeah.
and they have a lot of trains in them. It makes sense that you get a lot of deaths by trains when you put a lot of those two things
It's
in place.
just statistics, so that makes sense.
And then there's Florida.
Of course.
Of course, Florida's on there. Why?
What, you mean a lot of people die by train in Florida? I'm shocked.
So,
Perish the thought.
I would never have
now,
guessed.
what do you think Brightline thinks about this? What do you think their next steps are? What do you think they're going to do?
Okay, I'll play devil's advocate here. Are they going to listen to the FRA and put up gates and pedestrian fences?
No, in fact, I can't read
Are
this
they
article
going to
'cause I
fire
need
up
subscribe to it.
104? Yeah.
What they're going to do,
Yeah.
its top executive says that drones can help change the death rate on Brightline.
I know they mean quadcopters, but I can't help but picture little Twitch drones all over the place. And as somebody tries to go around the gate, they just get zapped.
Oh, I was thinking like Predator drones where they're just blowing up trespassers.
It's like those signs of the freeway speed enforced by aircraft.
But you never see the aircraft.
Oh, but they see you.
They see you.
They see you, though.
I still don't get how that works, but that's a different thing entirely.
This is a railroading podcast, not an aircraft
Actually,
podcast.
this
Yeah.
I've learned about this a little bit, and it's that in most places they don't actually do it anymore because things like radar guns have gotten better. But it was a thing like where they would send out a plane and they would just notice if somebody was moving a lot faster than traffic, and then time them between two predetermined points, like mileposts or whatever, and then they would ticket that person if they were going outrageously fast. They would send a cop to them or something. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how else you would deliver the ticket.
Question: how do you ticket the car while you're in an airplane?
I
Probably have someone stationed on the...
When was the last time you saw a train get nicked for speeding?
Currently, the trains heading westward across Massachusetts are not getting nicked for speeding at all.
Jader,
What?
very cool.
There was a billboard for that when I was out getting this flash drive, and it took a lot to not say something.
Those posters are following me everywhere.
There was one at the house when I was last home.
There are
It
many
drove you to tears.
Shenyun things around.
Shenyun.
Anyway, we've been given a number, or rather a range of numbers, for cost estimates for linking Western Massachusetts to Boston. I will take this moment to point out that what Western Massachusetts actually is really depends on where you are. If you were from downtown Boston, Western Massachusetts might begin at the city limits.
Sounds like a very Boston thing to say.
Massachusetts.
It's extremely Boston. It is like the idea that upstate begins at the Tappan Zee Bridge for somebody who lives in New York City. Anyway.
In fairness, I think that about New York.
Yeah.
Question about the article. Why are the options out of order?
Okay. I haven't read through the article, but the thing is, the price range, is between $2 billion on the low end and $25 billion on the high end.
What?
That's
Jeez,
that's a pretty big range there.
Yeah. So, I don't know why the options are in
You know what?
order.
I'll do it for $13 billion, and if it costs $12, then the extra billion will just
go to 1309.
Disappear. Yeah.
What?
So
we'll
yeah,
just
there
use that for fun.
6 options here. I mean, it's really more like 4 options, and then option 2 and 3 have an A and B attached to them. 150-mile-per-hour trains in a complete overhaul, which would be the $25 billion. Basically, you're building high-speed rail across Massachusetts. Option 4 and 5, which are $4 billion or $5 billion, which is new railroad infrastructure between Springfield and Worcester, and then option 5 would only go Springfield to Boston and use a bus to connect Pittsfield and Springfield. So, the bits farther west would be handled by bus, and the bits closer in would not be. Option 4 would be rail all the way, I guess. But mostly just upgrading where necessary. Option 2 and 3 would cost over $2 billion and $3.2 billion. Option 2 is almost identical to Option 1, but does not include the rail transfer from Worcester. Option 3 would extend rail service to Pittsfield with faster travel times. I don't know why the options are in the other order, especially because they're referencing ones that are lower down. It's like they expected to read this article from the bottom up. New train service from Springfield to Worcester, a bus connection from Springfield to Pittsfield and Worcester. Train transfer upon arrival in Worcester to Boston. So it wouldn't be a through train. And you would be able to get a bus from Pittsfield, which is far west, to Springfield or to Worcester and skip that train segment.
Worcester.
It's interesting. It's a lot of thoughts here. I just think we need trains.
Yeah.
There's a lot of nuance to it, but frankly, whichever one gets trains moving across the state, it doesn't necessarily bother me if they're not particularly fast.
Yeah.
And as for life in Worcester,
okay.
Sorry, I'm already here. I might as well.
Might as well.
There was a Worcester
cop. I had a segue, but you took the segue.
There was a Worcester cop
too.
that drunkenly drove stolen railroad truck down train tracks.
Congrats.
So
congratulations.
All right.
Worcester cop has become Florida man.
Yeah, a Worcester police officer has been charged with driving drunk on railroad tracks in a stolen CSX pickup truck early Monday morning. Prosecutors say he had no business being there. On the arrest report, the arresting officer wrote that the offending officer was on CSX property for no legitimate purpose. Officers responded to the area after getting called that a white Subaru had driven onto the MBTA commuter rail tracks from the T's public parking lot. The Subaru was lodged on the tracks, and the
You alright there, Ellis?
Yeah, no, Madison just asked me how much longer.
Okay.
But I was in the middle of talking through an article, so I can't speak to two things at once. Witnesses told police Escobar left his Subaru and stole a CSX truck, driving it onto the tracks and damaging it. So he stranded 2 vehicles on the tracks.
Nice.
Congrats. Mr. Florida man. You true. He must have been born in Florida.
Thanks.
I was just gonna say he was born in Florida and then he moved.
Maybe he wanted to get away from the 104, which is being fired up in Florida.
Ooh.
It's a 262 Prairie.
Good night.
Night.
And right now, they have an initial goal of $30,000 to do a detailed evaluation of the locomotive and perform an environmentally friendly asbestos abatement. Yeah.
That's good.
And then they're going to determine a more detailed budget from there. So, they seem to be taking a step in the right direction.
Yes. But you know who isn't taking a step in the right direction?
And they haven't announced any dates. So, that's good.
Yeah.
Who isn't taking a step in the right direction?
Oh dear. Canadian Pacific, why would you use this department to investigate your own wreck? That's not
We've investigated
legal.
ourselves and found that we've done nothing wrong.
It's because their CEO sees mergers as inevitable, but delayed by PSR. Yeah. That's why.
Nice sneaking that in there. Good job.
Nice.
100.
Mergers, I am inevitable.
Thank you.
Oh boy. So a police officer holding. Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry, a police officer probing what?
Hello.
Hold up.
A police officer probing the death of 3 Canadian. That's literally the words they chose, not mine.
Okay.
3 Canadian Pacific Railway crewmen killed in a runaway train crash in British Columbia last February alleges he was denied access to key evidence and suspects a cover-up by the railway.
No.
Dun dun dun!
CP covering up stuff.
Somebody's been watching a lot of Masterpiece Theater on PBS.
But you know who hasn't been covered?
Okay.
Uh,
I can read a little bit more, but okay. Okay.
No, Eric gets to finish.
I want to hear about this police officer probing 3 dead Canadian railroaders.
Okay, you know what? Yeah, that's fine. That's
All right.
My
Alright.
jungle plays in the background.
Damn it.
Jazz music stops.
Yeah. Police officer Mark Tedderin was ordered to stop. He says, "I was ordered to stop investigating. I would say it was some type of cover-up. You don't say. I believe it's an injustice. I do believe that there was corporate influence to sway the aspect of the investigation in some capacity."
CP doing that? No, they would never do so. Never.
Well,
Never.
If we're talking about being shady,
We're not an evil big corporation. Look at our little beaver. He's so cute.
if we're talking about,
Yeah, this is actually a.
go ahead.
Have I
I
ever?
was just gonna say this is actually a very, very long article that goes into a lot of detail. I do recommend reading it.
I can only read one sentence of this article, but the headline is CSX and other railroads face potential of millions of damages in dozens of suits alleging collusion.
That's good.
More than 50 lawsuits have been filed against the nation's largest railroads, presumably because they're price fixing.
So many jokes. Which one to choose?
Why choose only one when you can choose all of them?
China, emails, Crooked Hillary, Russia,
Russia, if you're listening.
Golden Shower, Putin.
Yeah, they're trying to sue Big New Santa Fe.
Fake news.
I said I want nothing. I want no quid pro quo.
Speaking of Big New Santa Fe 3751 is getting new superheater unit.
Are we just going to ignore the railroad price fixing thing?
We don't have much of an article to look at.
There's no more article. I can only read that
I
one
guess.
sentence.
I mean,
come on, you guys.
it's like you hear that you know everybody's accusing the railroads of price fixing. I mean, duh. But still, are we just going to ignore that?
I mean, thankfully there are a number of lawsuits so that it's not being ignored.
I guess.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, obviously, it does.
I didn't mean in a corporate sense.
No,
We're not going to talk about it at all.
Well, I don't know. I had never really considered it, but it does not surprise me at all.
Yeah.
If they're working with one another to figure out a price that works for everyone,
I mean, and quite frankly, in this industry, I don't know how you run the railroad without doing just that, because you already have to work with each other in such close like to get a carload from Los Angeles to New York, you have to go via probably at least 3 railroads, maybe 2.
Yeah.
But
2 at the least, yeah.
Yeah, 2 at the absolute least. Probably closer to 3 or even 4 or 5 by the time you've dealt with terminal railroads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you do that if you're not cooperating? And that doesn't mean price fixing, which again I'm not surprised by. But is this a shocking revelation to people? I'm surprised we haven't heard about this sooner, is I guess what I'm getting at. This seems like an odd time for these allegations to be coming out, considering this has been the way it's been since the industry started.
I mean, I think with the onset of PSR, it really, it brought the house down almost on the previous way that things worked, and so any connections had to get that much closer. And
I guess
maybe if maybe it's not now more prevalent as it may be more obvious because the shippers may have fewer choices. There's no longer the illusion of choice or whatever.
It wasn't
big
like
emphasis
the good old
on the illusion there.
Yeah. It wasn't like the good old days when you would have like free railroads in quite a few major cities, or more.
Yeah,
the times
although
have changed.
even then, it's like the good old days. This goes back to all of the railroad lines organizing and price fixing against Vanderbilt because it was Vanderbilt.
Well, and previously there had been a lot of regulations about and against that practice because it had gotten super out of hand when railroads were the only choice for anything, and that's a lot of what had been rolled back. During Conrail's time, because it didn't make sense anymore because you have fewer railroads and because you're competing with trucks and not just with one another and, that sort of thing.
That's true.
And maybe now with PSR and everything, we're entering a world where we're going to have to look at this again because the choices are getting slimmer and slimmer as the market sort of not collapses, but
changes,
but thins.
Mock collapses.
But thins. The most efficient pathways are there or getting there, and any other options, were less viable. So it's almost like monopolies are able to be formed without actual company monopolies existing.
Yeah, and
there's only one way realistically to get something from here to there.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's my thoughts.
China.
Thanks. Appreciate the thoughts. Now, if we want to do something... Actually, no. You know what? If we're making fun of other countries... you know how nobody robs trains anymore?
Yeah.
Nobody told the Mexicans.
The Mexicans.
Because...
Nobody robs trains anymore, senor.
Train robberies in Mexico are up 13% as of quarter 3, 2019.
That's quite a significant percentage, considering...
There are two things that make this number stand out for me. 13% is not insignificant. That's a pretty hefty jump, first of all. Second of all, the fact that it can be written as 13% is alarming. Because if you think about it, if you have very small numbers, say there were 2 incidents, and then there was 3 the following quarter, it would be up by 50%, but it would only be up by 1 more. 13 is a prime number. 13 is a number that, unless it's rounding up from 12.5, which it may be, which means that,
half a crime was committed.
Or, no, like 12.5% would be like in the neighborhood of like
8.
It was 8, and then there were 9. Or 7, and then there were 8. But that is not the case. Quote, in this crime of theft of trains, such as freight and vehicle transport, there's been a decrease with just over 1,000 complaints compared to almost 1,500 the previous year. But the quarter, it's gone up. So year over year, it's going down, but quarter over quarter, it's going up.
Well, that quote right there is significant because, as I read and understood the article, there's some disagreement over whether or not it's actually up, correct?
So that's the thing. Train thefts have dropped this year. Overall.
You say it like that, it sounds not like they're robbing the train. It sounds like they have stolen the train. It's train theft.
He says theft of trains, such as freight and vehicle transport.
Grand trip train.
He does not say things being stolen from trains.
You're crazy. Nobody robs trains anymore.
You're right, we steal the whole train now.
Types of items stolen includes consumer goods, auto parts, and agricultural grains. So, first of all, who's stealing agricultural grains? And how?
We're wanting to America.
Combine is good stuff.
And
also, how do you steal that? It's like, okay, you've stopped the train and have successfully started the tractor on the flatbed. Where do you go now?
Yeah. No,
Are you going to run from the police in a tractor?
Oh, no, agricultural grains.
Like, grains? I thought it was agricultural goods.
No.
Agricultural grains.
I'm just thinking.
Wait. That brings up another interesting one. What is a non-agricultural grain?
Listen, I've been seeing this commercial that talks about how only 10% of the farmland in the U.S. is organic, and I'm really questioning what organic means now.
Well, that's still agriculture, though. Even if it's not organic, it's still what is a non-agricultural grain? Wood grain?
Best kind of grain.
But that's not what a grain is.
I'm aware, but I can't think of anything else that it would be. What is a non-agricultural grain? A grain of sand?
I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a good one.
So that's even more puzzling. The Mexicans aren't stealing wheat off of trains; they're stealing sand.
No, they're stealing agricultural grains. They're not.
Oh, sorry.
They are stealing.
They are stealing. They're
question
stealing
is
wheat.
The question remains how. Because what do? Well, you stop the train.
Bucket.
Like what?
Hop on a train with a gun.
This is a bucket.
And go unstoppable style from whatever car you hopped onto.
Just pop the hatches and have like shop vacs that they're vacuuming out these cars. No.
What's the next thing they're going to do? Break through the border because they're running to America?
Yeah, what they do is
and they're going to have like a cheesy 80s like movie based off of it.
It's Tough Guys backwards.
They smuggle it across the border.
Yeah,
they cut it with Coke.
Oh boy.
Okay. Coca-Cola, right?
What they say is, we're running to New Mexico. And the reason they're running to New Mexico is because New Mexico is trying to get back in the train business. And they know they'll be able to steal from,
I was going to say, nice save, and you went right back into it.
No. You rob trains.
See?
People rob trains. I need that on a shirt.
People like grapes.
Yeah. So, where is this new train to be stolen from? Well, New Mexico lawmakers say Farmington. Stop me if you've heard this one before. But they want to build a railroad to Farmington, New Mexico. And
is it to build roads?
No, actually.
Is it to lay pipes?
It will be to, I think, ship in and out plastic is one of the things. Yeah, a plastic company is looking to set up shop in Farmington, and
so they are making pipes.
They might be making pipes. They've already expressed interest in helping to pay for this potential railroad. The government of New Mexico is thinking that building a rail line into Farmington from Gallup would spur economic development in the region because the San Juan power plant is going to close down, and they're looking for new ways to spur the economy in the region because now all the jobs associated with running the power plant are going to no longer exist, and poor Farmington needs some help.
Okay.
I guess.
I'm back.
Well, then maybe I don't know. It's not like they have an old railroad grade that they could make tourism out of. Or,
yeah, it's going the other way though. Not to Gallup.
I mean, yeah. Not only is it going the wrong way, but I love trains. I wouldn't ride the train from Durango to Farmington. It's not very scenic.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, again, the Rio Grande didn't exactly go to Gallup either.
Yeah, so that doesn't.
They didn't have a reason to.
That doesn't help anybody. Now, I've got one more thing to cover. So, we talked about this a little bit, and then the vote got pushed, and then it happened. So, the fate of the Gulf Coast Amtrak project lay in the hands of Mobile, Alabama, and they were supposed to have a vote on, I think, New Year's Eve. They were
supposed to have a nut?
They were supposed to have a vote on New Year's Eve as to whether they were going to pony up the cash for this Amtrak boondoggle. And then the vote got pushed off. And then, to the surprise... Oh, that's a different one. That's the Atlanta to Nashville one. Oops, that got tucked in there by accident. I'll talk about that too, I guess. And then, surprisingly enough, the Mobile City Council voted 6-1 in favor of putting $3 million towards bringing Amtrak back to the Gulf Coast.
Hey.
Mobile has committed $3 million, Louisiana as a whole has committed $10 million, and Mississippi as a whole committed $18 million for funding for the service. The Southern Rail Commission thinks bringing Amtrak back will be different and more accessible because it'll run twice a day, 7 days a week, instead of previously where it was running every other day, because it was the Sunset Limited. So, there is an official resolution here that you can read. It'll probably be at least until 2022 before trains return, but now that the ball is rolling, there will be a comprehensive study done between Amtrak, Norfolk Southern, and CSX to find out where repairs are needed, and how freight and passenger trains can share the one track between New Orleans and Mobile, which they've done before.
Good on that.
Yeah.
Also, Mobile needs a train station. I don't know what happened to its last train station.
They lost it.
I guess.
It got far away in Hurricane Katrina.
Yeah, I guess.
But here's the question: Will the Sunset Limited re-extending back to New Orleans?
No, it'll be a new service.
It'll be a new service. Okay.
Mobile city leaders were on the fence about this matter for weeks. Several council members were concerned about the financial responsibility and the impact it would have on the Port of Mobile. It's a concern shared by Cliff Melton with the Terminal Railway in Mobile. He said Amtrak would slow down freight trains on the single track. Quote, would create congestion and costly, inefficient shipping delays for everyone. So...
Oh, excuse me.
So basically, how everyone sees Amtrak.
Yeah. Well...
Alright. Well, maybe if they have the charger locomotives, they might be able to go a little bit faster for their freight. Because Amtrak is testing chargers on long-distance routes. They tested them on the Empire Builder route, the Coast Star route, and route again. I think the Chief.
They did, I believe, test them on the Chief.
Yeah.
And
so that's interesting, and I can't read the full text of the article, but I can only assume that it went reasonably well.
I hope that it went well.
Well, we didn't hear of any chargers exploding, so it must have went well.
Yeah, it must have gone great. Hopefully. Maybe.
Yeah, hopefully.
Well, you know what else is going great?
I was going to go out and see them as they went past, but it was during a blizzard.
Oh, I'm jealous.
Of the blizzard or the Chargers?
Yes.
Yes.
Can we do or at least, can I do like a lightning round? Cause,
yeah, sure.
Yeah. It's 835 class. Okay, so. Where should I start? Okay, so Age of Steam. They're, as some of you may know, they're starting to thin down their collection. New leadership, they're starting to with any good organization, they know what to hold on to and what to get rid of. So up for auction or up for sale, they have two. They have two diesel switchers, and then just in the last couple weeks, 3 of their coaches went or got shipped out to the Valley Rare. I don't know if they've made it there yet.
I don't know either, but yeah, they're on the way.
Well, hopefully they didn't. Hopefully the truck that they were on didn't get stolen.
Oh God, here we go.
Truck? No, they went by rail.
Hopefully the Mexicans didn't get to it then.
Yeah.
And sidebar with the coaches moving. Can we get some F's in chat for Ohio Central's GP30 4218? Because like the day after they shipped the coaches, like they used 4218 to go get the coaches, and then like the day after, pictures of it came up with Larry's truck and electric painted on it. So it's done.
Well, at least they had a good final one. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh well. Anyway, so there's that. Green Coast Studios, our buddy Union, he makes a lot of cool shit. He's into 3D modeling and all kinds of cool stuff. He has his website. He has a few cool things on there, and his most recent release was a Baltimore and Ohio S1A. I want to pick up at least one of his models at some point and just play with it. Because from what I understand, they have all kinds of sweet features. Because like all kinds of actual it's like running features.
Yeah,
features.
Words are hard.
It just works.
It does just the works. Advanced thing. I don't know.
MPBR. Which is quite nice.
Yes,
yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
all of his stuff is BBR.
Ooh. I need to buy his stuff now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great looking model. The texture is really clean.
Oh yeah.
Like it's very black.
I mean, I'd love.
Yeah, I think it would look a lot better weathered, certainly. But
yeah, that's the one thing I like about K&L's stuff. The photo texturing and stuff that Steve uses makes it look not shiny. Like no Steam engine is perfectly shiny unless it's on display somewhere.
Even then, they're never that shiny. It's just, they don't. That's not really how light works, but
right,
it does look very nice.
Or you're Japanese.
So jumping down to Nashville and the good folks at Nashville Steam, they have acquired a former Amtrak baggage car to use as a tool car for when they eventually start doing excursions. Which is great. I need to make a trip down. If we do the Tennessee trip in like 3, 4, or 5 years, whenever it's running, I'm making it a point to go there. I don't give a shit.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Let's see. Jumping back up to Pennsylvania, and PSR, land of the Horsehead, and this is demolishing of the Altoona shop complex.
Whip.
Sad face.
Yeah, big sad.
Yeah. Shame to see all this stuff go, but PSR.
Stop operates change over
yes.
time.
And speaking of PSR, I don't think we have an article for this anywhere.
Oh.
But it's just put, I think as of Thursday or Friday, they put the SD70Ms up on the auction block. So PSR is really, really hitting hard. There's not going to be much, there's not going to be much left on NS that's worth anything, or worth any variety.
Did we talk about UP's plans with PSR this coming year?
We had an article on it, but nobody grabbed it.
Okay. I couldn't remember if that was between this podcast and the last, or if we'd already discussed it.
No. It's.
I mean, that might be kind of worth, just because we've talked about PSR a lot. Yeah. Do we know which article it is?
I already deleted it.
Oh, well.
But point is, they closed some things, and then they're going to open some more things.
Yeah, UP after reporting big losses last year is sort of backpedaling on some of the PSR service shutdowns and is attempting to rebuild some of their network.
And I think they also closed the Eaglewood Hump Yard in Houston, I want to say.
They did shutter a hump yard.
Rest in peace. Another one bites the dust. Another hump yard bites the dust. UP likes to tap their hump yard.
Note. And
my last piece of news for tonight. This is a good question to just kind of have in the back of your mind. Does creosote cause cancer?
Maybe in the state of California.
So,
beat me to it.
That's because everything causes cancer in California. Anyway, according to a report from Fox 26 out in Houston, there have been what's the word? There have been concerns over cancer from people living near a rail yard in the area, primarily lung cancer, and they're speculating that it's caused by the creosote in the ties, which is completely. I mean, that's a fair point.
And where the houses are built.
Yeah.
I don't know if there was like a tie plant there previously, but the article states that their location was contaminated with creosote.
Yeah, it's not like they have tracks nearby that when the sun is hot they can smell the creosote and they're screaming cancer.
Yeah.
Well,
it sounds like it's a little bit worse than
you gotta
that.
Stop and smell the cancer.
Wake up and smell the cancer.
I mean, not gonna lie.
I love the smell of cancer in the morning.
I mean, not gonna lie, I like the smell of creosote, but
well, live it up.
The far waking
while you still can.
There's creosote in your nose.
I also like the smell of coal dust. That doesn't make it good.
Yeah,
people love huffing gasoline.
I suppose, yes.
Maybe that's what TriMet did when they came up with their newest rail line.
Uh-oh.
That's all I got.
TriMet.
You fading, Jader.
You got a guess for latest train on Amtrak?
Oh, I forgot about this. What has the Chargers on it right now?
I have no idea.
I think they're back, actually.
Yeah. Oh, never mind. The Amtrakker's down.
Damn.
Well, we still have an old... It would be what is the latest as of 4 this morning, so...
Okay.
Oh, no.
How about... Let's do the eastbound Cardinal.
Eastbound Cardinal, okay.
Cradnal.
Okay, yeah. So, my last words... A man has fallen into the river in Lego City.
Hey!
Hey!
Anyway.
Fucking greatest memes. Go watch Lego Masters if you haven't.
Oh, I wanted to record that.
It was fucking great.
Alright, Moki.
Made me emotional a couple of times. Anyway, yeah. Bye, guys.
See ya.
Bye.
Anyway,
Bye.
TriMet's on drugs?
Yes, they are. This is like the 9 millionth article on this. It's about the line to Walton that they're going to build at some point. Construction is still a couple of years away. Total travel time would be 30 minutes. And I don't know. I think there's better ways that they could have gotten into Walton, but I'm not TriMet, so.
Yeah, it looks like they're gonna send it right along the interstate.
Yeah, looks like it. And they're gonna call it the Max Line.
Well, it's been the Max line since it started.
Well, it's a new Max Line. It's
Maxer.
Maximer.
Maximi?
Maximagic.
You've got some tight turns in there.
But you know what didn't have tight turns? That's PNet, which owned the steam locomotive that's getting sold to the port of Coamo, Washington, which is going to display it. This engine went to the Grand Canyon after being on display somewhere in Washington. Up somewhere. Where.
Okay.
So
cool.
It came full circle. Grand Canyon didn't touch it at all. They got it around the time that they were thinking about expanding steam operations and then Bexy Oil. And then
they didn't do it.
I think they wound up buying Net40s instead.
Yeah, their problem became water, not fuel.
Yeah, agua.
Agua. No agua, senor.
Yeah, the Mexicans took it. Damn it. The Mexicans are
But yeah, that's all I had. Man, it took me a long time to get to the SPNS. I tried really hard to send to that, but I could not.
Oh well, there was an attempt. Okay, so well, is there anything else we want to cover here?
Oh, let's talk about the Orient.
The Orient?
Yeah,
Racist.
the Orient.
Yeah, we can't say that.
Oh, okay. Well, can we at least say that the Orient Express train has become a cafe?
No,
the
moving on.
The redacted
Okay.
express train. Yeah.
Yes, the redacted Express train.
Murder on the redacted express.
Yes.
And then there's also questions about whether or not the Y6 will be St. Louis or if it's going to stay in Roanoke.
I don't know, is the FTB unit going to stay in St. Louis, or is it going to go back?
Who knows?
Yeah.
Nobody does. Let's end with the fact that K&L automotive.
Yes, they did.
Eagle River number 70.
Yeah, another locomotive for the Eagle River.
Yay! I still need to get more of his stuff, as well as the Eagle River. It looks like a done.
The Eagle River looks like a neat little route. Isn't that the one where they've got the sign where it's like, back the other way or whatever?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty funny. Eagle River Railroad 3,
That far
3
away
miles.
reminds me of Seabeer.
3
Yeah.
miles that way. Okay. Well, if that's all we have for today, let's do our last train on Amtrak and then round out the show.
As of 4:16 in the morning.
Yeah, as of 4:16 a.m.
It's fine.
It's fine. Don't worry. It's fine.
It's fine. It's perfect fine.
Eric, guess wrong.
That's wrong.
What do you think?
Let's do the westbound California Zephyr.
Okay, the westbound Zephyr to Emeryville. Milky?
It was at 4 a.m., so I can't go with my usuals because they're afternoon trains. Eastbound California Zephyr.
Oh, so we've got the east and westbound Zephyr. All right.
Ooh.
Eric, what's the right answer?
Eric, what's the right answer? Wow, okay. Alright, let's see. 4:16. That would be the start of rush hour.
4 a.m.'s the start of rush hour?
It depends on where you're at.
No, it's not.
We're not in... No!
Okay, I'm kidding. Okay.
Depends on where we're at. Yeah, it's rush hour in the mid-Atlantic.
It's nice that it does cut down on the number of trains that you have to pick from, like, significantly.
This is true.
I'm looking at the map right now, and it's real sparse.
Let's see here. The auto train?
The auto train does run overnight.
So not the auto train?
Let me just cover everything. So, the Zephyrs. There are actually 2 Zephyrs on system either way. The
Yes.
westbound Zephyr, there's one that's 60 minutes late and one that's on time. The eastbound
Damn.
Zephyr, there's one that's 57 minutes late and one that's an hour and 58 late. And the Cardinal is 41 minutes late. I don't know which one he picked, but there's only one on system. The Crescent is 4 hours and 59 minutes late.
Jiminy
Greenville.
Christmas.
But because Eric cheats, we know the answer is the auto train. Which one, north or south?
I'm gonna say south.
Okay, so he actually picked the incorrect answer, so appreciate you staying humble.
You are definitely cheating.
The auto train is...
I actually have been watching some auto train videos, so that's why
The
I
auto
picked it.
train is 6
Uh-huh.
hours and 2 minutes late, heading northbound. And that is the latest train on Amtrak. The other auto train is an hour and 13 minutes late, heading southbound.
Well, it was.
Oh, wait. No, sorry. Hold on. It was an hour and 13 minutes late. Oh, at Sanford, Florida, on the way to Lorton, so that's northbound. And then... So it's the southbound that is 6 hours and 2 minutes late. Okay, yeah. They're almost on top of each other at 4:16 a.m. They're very close to one another in South Carolina, or in North Carolina, rather. Anyway,
North Carolina, sure.
It's southern North Carolina.
That's great.
It is.
You go from South North Carolina to North South Carolina.
Okay, anyway. Let me do this, because Eric is doing the honors of that. No, wait, I have a good termination. Okay. So, Weibold?
1-0.
1-0.
Jader says a man has fallen into the river in Lego City.
Hey!
I would like to say, rest in peace, my dog, U.S. Senator from Colorado, Michael Bennett.
Okay.
Milky.
My ink is a picture in Europe one that I can't find of an LATL Type 8 street car, which is a direct sister to a car that we have at the museum.
Neat.
I was trying to find the Christmas paint scheme that they had, but I could not find it. Fast enough.
And Eric.
I would just like to say, rest in peace, Kobe Bryant, who passed away died in a helicopter crash on the 26th of January this year. No survivors, 9 people died.
Yeah.
It was bad. And it came out that the helicopter did not have... so that doesn't...
It didn't have what?
In cockpit of, like, airplanes, if you're too close to the terrain, it'll go too low terrain.
Oh, okay. No, you cut out,
yeah.
so I didn't hear what you
I
were
cut
saying.
out, okay.
Yeah. Anyway. That's a sad ending, and last time we talked about Neil Parrott, I believe, so.
All right,
Thank you for tuning in for this episode of the Terminus Podcast. We'll be back in a couple of weeks for more 1-0.
And it will not be me. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
1-0.